Chapter 54. A lucky star. Xiao suddenly remembered the flourishing space, seeing the holes being dug. She started to concentrate. She could not help but get startled. Those two Ganoderma lucidum had grown bigger, and were full of spiritual energy, exuding a faint medicinal fragrance, which was really refreshing. There was a spring pool of about 2 square meters on the side. The pool had no exit or entrance. The spring water looked very clear, but the bottom could not be seen. She tried to move some grass from outside but failed. It seemed that this space was very critical. It did not take in anything or everything. It only accepted Ganoderma lucidum, for example. She tried to pull out the spring, yet nothing happened, which made her feel disappointed. But the next second, Xiaoqi cried out in surprise. Water! There is water here! What? Really? Xiao Xian and Xiao Taotao were both surprised. They rushed out and checked. Xiaoqi was so happy. Her eyes were sparkling as she was smiling. They kept digging, and the spring spurted out. Ah! It is really spring water. Oh, that is great! Xiao Taotao screamed as she spinned around on the spot. Xiao Xian smiled too. Yes, this is fantastic. It must be the spring from her space. Good, she did not have to worry a thing about watering. Boxinoviel. And it was a great relief for them. There were only 3 springs in the village. They had to carry water to their home when they needed some at home. But with this spring here, all they needed to do was to get the water out to the yard, which made it handy for them to use water. Xiao Taotao rushed out happily. I am going to tell my mom. Soon Ms. Fang rushed over too. She got so happy seeing the water. She struck her thigh and smiled. Miss Qiao, you are such a lucky star. You are a lucky star. They needed to use water every day, and it was so annoying and painstaking to carry water. This spring just saved all the trouble. Who would have expected that spring appeared on this deserted land? Seeing the water rushing out, Ms. Fang got both happy and nervous, seeing that there was no sign that there was any end to the water. Keep this a secret. Let's just see what is happening. This wasteland did not seem to be a place that should have a spring, and they wondered if the water would keep on running forward, or was it gushing out just for a moment? What if it was simply a momentary thing? When Xiao Yunduan returned in the evening, Ms. Fang revealed the story to the family. The whole family was shocked. They all headed towards the yard and tried to check it out. The spring was still leaking. The tree hole wasn't so large, and the water had already wetted the land. That is so good, it is so good. Eldest uncle just got so excited that he could not talk. It would be so convenient for us to use water. Haha. Xiao Sanlang said happily. Miss Su was laughing with tears in her eyes. It was always her husband who had to carry the water, and now the labor was saved. Xiao Yunduan raised his eyebrows slightly. It was such an unbelievable thing. This land was not like a place where water could gush out. How did she find the spring just after some digging? The land should have been flourishing if there had been water underneath. Chapter 55. Praise, but it was a fact. Seeing was believing, wasn't it? Xiao Yunduan just could not believe what he had seen, nor could he find the logic of what he witnessed. It was indeed a magical world. He could not help but glance at Xiao Xian. His wife was indeed blessed. No wonder his mother kept calling her the lucky star. Xiao Xian caught Xiao Yunduan's sight and smiled at him. She blinked and chuckled. Am I very lucky? She sounded so proud that Xiao Yunduan could not help but laugh. She was like an arrogant fox who had raised her tail. He nodded. Yes, you are very lucky. In this case, I have achieved so much at home. Try speaking highly of me. Xiao Yunduan just could not utter a word. How should he praise her? Xiao Xian chuckled, seeing his reaction. Seeing the man got so bashful, she added another sentence. You don't have to compliment me or praise me, but you have to promise to defend me and stand by my side. Xiao Yunduan moved his lips. He could speak highly of people, except that he just did not understand what she was talking about. He nodded and took a deep breath. I will definitely defend you. He was going to stand by her, since she was paying so much attention to the Xiao family. Satisfied, Xiao Xian raised her lips. You have to remember what you said today. She was going to remind him of this whenever she had the chance, so he could bear what she had said in his mind firmly. She gradually understood that a woman was born in a disadvantageous place in this era, and she needed someone to lean on. Boxin Com, for example, but for Xiao Yunduan and mother-in-law, the second and the third sections of the family would have torn her apart, and allowed no chance for her to talk sense. Don't worry. Early next morning, everyone from the family wanted to check if the water spring was still active. Xiaoxian was no exception. It was the first time for her to do this thing, and she wondered if the spring would remain thriving any longer. Seeing that the spring was still active and water was coming out of the whole family cheered as if the new year was around the corner. This is a real spring. Oh God, my hanging heart can settle down now, Ms. Fang said as she patted her chest, smiling. Eldest uncle was excited too. I will get someone to get the water to our yard, so we don't have to worry about water anymore. Ms. Fang nodded with a smile. Let's do it now. She cooked porridge and steamed buns just to celebrate the discovery of the spring. The stuffing of the steamed buns consisted of 2 kinds of leek vermicelli eggs, diced sauerkraut bamboo shoots, and diced mushrooms. The stuffing made by Qiao was full of flavor, thin on the wrapping and big in size. When they were out of the steamers, they smelled great. Everyone was speaking highly of the soft, fresh taste of the warm steamed buns. After breakfast, Xiao Dalong got so excited that he was urged by Ms. Su to start the work for their sister-in-law. So, Xiao Sanlang followed them up to the field. After all, they could make 21 a day. Eldest uncle was in charge of the spring, so his sons did not stay at home but went to work instead. Eldest uncle soon asked the well expert from the neighboring village. Xiao Xian had her own idea and expressed her suggestions. Chapter 56. Ms. Fang's welcoming. The following were her suggestions. For the pool in the yard, the best bricks should be built around it so only one hole of the spring was shown. A patch of brickland was to be built around, which would make it easier for the water to be used for the garden. After that, an underground ditch would be dug to lead the spring water from the garden to the courtyard. The underground ditch would also be covered with blue bricks and built on both sides. In this way, the land would be flat and the surface will not be ruined, nor would the spring be dirted. Then they would dig a pool in the backyard to connect the water for easy takeout. But the exit would remain hidden, so that it could leak straight to the sewers and ditches in the village. Xiao Yunduan nodded. Dad, Mom, it sounds very convenient. Ms. Fang agreed too, seeing that her son had said yes. She smiled. I think it is a good idea. What about doing it like this? Eldest uncle was worried about spending money, so he hesitated. The bricks are not cheap. We have to spend money. The well expert's mouth twitched, thinking that the garden behind was completely made of blue bricks, right? Since they could use it for the land, then why not for the water? Ms. Fang had a clearer mind in this aspect than him. She said resolutely, it doesn't cost much. It is going to be very convenient too. Let's do it this way now. Eldest uncle nodded eventually. The well expert patted the thighs and said with a smile, Good. It is very sunny these days. Let's start the project as soon as possible. Good. That the active spring was discovered in the wasteland in the yard of the Xiao family was spread all over the whole village. What? A spring in that wasteland? An active spring? That can't be possible. Com, is it real? They all got shocked and rushed to have a look at the place. Elder uncle was smiling brightly while he was engaged in the work with the well expert, with Xiao Xiaoqi helping alongside. Ms. Fang was receiving guests who wanted to have a look at it. That is a real active spring. Just take a look at it as much as you want. My Duan is very lucky to have got a really good wife who has brought so much fortune to us since she marries him. A spring from a wasteland. Now we have water in the yard, and it makes everything so easy. More convenient than a well. And it saves us the trouble of carrying the water. We don't have to spend any more effort. Ms. Fang was showing off without trying to conceal a thing. Everyone forced a small smile and answered with oh yes, true, very convenient. But they were not actually glad to see this. Why did they never run into anything good like this? They had been laughing at the wasteland a couple of days ago. But now the family got an active spring. Look at the spring. It looked so vibrant and clear. Ms. Fang felt even more happy seeing everyone's face. They had been bad-mouthing her and the family behind their back, and she knew everything they had said. Now they were slapped right on the face, right? Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were among the group who had watched the show. They felt so sour inside their hearts. After all, they were the ones who laughed loudest at them a couple of days ago. Ms. Ma, who felt really sour, could not help but spit out. Springs here are not reliable. They get dried up in a couple of days. You don't have to spend so much efforts on it. What about waiting for some more days? Ms. Niu laughed. That is so true. Chapter 57 Water and House. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma kept saying bad words, and that made everyone else also laugh. They all started to gossip loudly. Ms. Fang was so furious inside her heart, but she said calmly, "Don't worry, sisters-in-law. The spring was discovered a couple of days ago, and it is still running right now." Ms. Ma snorted and said timidly, "I am just reminding you out of kindness." Ms. Fang showed a false smile. "Oh, thank you very much for the reminder." Ms. Ma. The spring remained active, no matter how much the outsiders expected it to run dry. The work was done in the evening. The clear water ran through the brick-built hidden passage and went into the pool in the yard. The pool was filled with water until it leaked out through the hidden passage. Soon the soil and sand were all filtered through, and the water filled up the pool, clear and clean. In order to prevent dirt from easily falling into the garden, the two pools in the garden and the backyard were built to be 3 bricks higher than the ground and were square, making it clean and easy to use. The whole family got so happy seeing the pool of water. After dinner, they got down to their own business. Second uncle and third uncle came with weird looks on their faces. That Xiaoxian had hired some people to help with the land was leaked out, and second uncle and third uncle both heard about the news. Both of them were feeling really annoyed inside their hearts. Moreover, when the spring was discovered in the yard, they felt even more distressed. They came over to make complaints. "Brother, you are isolating us. 21 a day, you would rather give them to others than to us. Yes, it is so hurtful. You are even trying to hide it from us. But for the leakage, we would not have known about this at all. Boxin OVL. COM, you are always talking about being the same family." Well, eldest uncle was confused but smiled. "Don't get mad, you must have been mistaken. They are just here to help us, and we offer them lunch, but no salary. We will help them back when they need help in the future." Third uncle was annoyed. "Now you are even lying to us." "You are." "No." Eldest uncle called Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian over asked them about this. Xiao Yunduan thought for a while and threw a quick look at Xiao Xian. "We did not talk about salary before, but they were doing a lot of work, so Ms. Qiao offered the salary when she felt very guilty." Second uncle and third uncle turned to elder uncle and showed a "look what I said" expression on their faces. "Then we can ask our sons to help you. You have to pay them too." Xiao Lulang, sixth son, was the only child of the third section of the family, and he was studying in the school. Hence third uncle said, "I will be there too." Xiao Xian smiled. "It would be great if you want to offer help." "But second uncle and third uncle, we are a family, aren't we? We can't take money from each other, can we?" "True." Xiao Sanlang could not help but mumble. "We helped you so many times, but you never pay us anything, not even food." Chapter 58 Heartbreaking. Second uncle and third uncle did not hear what Xiao Sanlang said, so they countered Xiao Xian simultaneously. "We are separated. We are not a family. Brothers should get paid too. It is fair, isn't it?" "True." Elder uncle's face turned pale the minute he heard their remarks. How could his brothers say those words? They would not have become so mad as to get confused in their heads, would they? Did they not keep saying that they were not separated, but a whole family? Eldest uncle heard what Xiao Sanlang said as well. He was not very pleased. Suddenly he felt a bit emotional. Xiao Xian showed her arms and said disappointedly, "So, you never thought that we are a family?" Second uncle got startled and brought himself back, as he looked at eldest uncle subconsciously. "Don't try to turn white into black. Brother, I don't mean this, I mean you can pay us rather than paying outsiders, right?" Xiao Xian sneered inside her heart. Well, that was true, but they never worked hard even when they were paid. Elder uncle sighed and could not utter a word, as he turned to Xiao Xian. Xian said. I have already paid everyone, and the work should be finished within a day. So, I might consider your offer next time if we have similar work to do. It was not an easy place to clean. There was grass, weeds and bushes. It would take 5 or 6 more days. Xian was just trying to shift the whole thing as long as she could. All she needed to do was to say some words. Box and OVL. She could just make up any number of excuses as she wanted, and could always find some new ones. Xiaoyunduan added. True, we are all living in one village, and it is not proper to ask for the payment back, right? Eldest uncle, who was hurt by what his 2 brothers said, got so confused in mind, so he reacted to Xiaoyunduan's words instinctively. True, both second uncle and third uncle were taken aback. Their brother had always stood by their sides and he never turned down their demands. But at this moment, his brother ended the hope by just saying such words? And he showed nothing? Xian smiled. Second uncle and third uncle, we will definitely turn to you for help in the future. We are one family, right? We don't have to split hairs, and it can save me a lot of money too, right? You, third uncle got anxious. Second uncle also exchanged a strange look with him. Then you should take us family into consideration when you have something good to offer. After that, we can talk about payment. What did she mean by saving her a lot of money? They were a family, right? Why save money? She had 26 sets of dowry and so much gold and silver. How could she be so stingy? Xian smiled and said nothing more. Second uncle and third uncle left, looking unsure. Xiao Sanlang pursed his lips. If I am asked to plow and put down crops for them in a while, I am going to ask for money too, or at least lunch. Just drop it. Eldest uncle threw his temper at his son and said angrily, why so much talk? Chapter 59 Nonsense. He had intended to put forward the family talk, but when he thought of what his brothers had just said, he swallowed his words. He said stiffly, they help us too, right? Xiao Sanling got even more mad. They help? I would rather that they don't come. They just make us so angry. Whenever it came to the busy season, the first section of the family would always help the second and the third sections of the family to finish their labor before the other 2 sections came to help them. But the other 2 sections always idled around and never did any good work. They were never helpful. Moreover, the first section had to serve them 3 meals a day. If chicken was not served at dinner, they would even complain. But when they helped the other 2 sections, they not only got no breakfast, but also really little porridge. When dinner came, they served the meal with only soup and a lot of chicken bones. That was what they considered to be chicken dinner. When Xiaoyunduan heard what Xiao Sanlang said, he took Xian away. They had just walked out of the room when Xiao Sanlang's scream arose. He was begging. Dad, don't hit me, please don't. Xian laughed. Xiaoyunduan threw a look at her. This is what Dad has always been like. He can't change so fast. Therefore, when Xiao Sanlang kept nagging about what he had been through, he meant that every time their father got humiliated, he started to teach the son a lesson. Xian said, do you think your dad is right? Xiaoyunduan shook his head. No, but it will take time for him to change. Boxin OVL. Xiaoxian smiled. That was true. The following day, Xiao Dalong and the team were still working on the land, whilst Xiaoxian, together with Xiao Taotao and Xiao Xiaoqi were working on the fruit trees in the yard. She bought fruit trees from a very generous seller, who not only helped to dig out the trees, but also helped to carry the trees to the yard. The trees can live on like this? Someone asked. Xiaoxian smiled and said confidently, of course it is springtime and it is much easier to water the plants. They will definitely live on. That man said nothing more. It was getting very hot and trees could not grow so well. Watering much did not help the trees to grow. She was talking nonsense. Well, she was wasting her own money after all. When the seller sold the tree, he took a walk around the river and found a new budding tree for himself. Within 2 days' time, there were 2 loquats trees, 2 dates trees, 1 pomegranate tree, 2 persimmon trees, 2 bayberry trees, 2 plum trees, 2 pear trees, 1 hawthorn, and 2 peach trees in Xiaoxian's yard. Apart from the 2 date trees and bayberry trees as well as pear trees which were as large as a bowl, many were transplanted here after being chopped. and the others were as large as the surface of the bowl, and were transplanted to this place after only a few twigs were chopped. There were even some fruits hanging from the twigs. Xiaoxian poured her superpower into the trees. Hence, the trees turned green and looked alive the following day. But she did not use too much superpower, otherwise they would have grown better. In this way, Xiaoxian was satisfied. She poured in superpower every now and then, so the trees could become really good after just a few months. By that time, no one would find the growth to be strange. Chapter 60. Xiaoxian's attention. Seeing that the fruit trees were growing nicely, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were both very happy as well. They spoke highly of the spring here, which should be very practical to water the plants. Xiaoxian was thinking about the wild lemons she saw at Wangqing Mountains, so she went into the mountains with Xiao Xiaoqi and Taotao. Wild lemons were good for making food and seasoning, as well as perfume making. They already finished consuming the wild animals they got from the last hunt. Xiao Xiaoqi smiled as he said, "I have been planning to visit the mountains, and if you want to go to Wangqing Mountains, we can go there together." Xiao Yinduan also decided to tag along, since he had gotten tired of reading. He needed to have a walk in the mountains. Xiaoxian had paid attention to the spot of wild lemons, so they found what they needed very fast. In one ditch there were more than a dozen wild lemon trees growing, 2 of which were as large as arms and were carried home by Xiaoxian. For her, any broken twigs could become budding trees. And they did not need to bring too many of those home. They were so lucky that they found one bergamot tree, which Xiaoxian decided to bring back as well. Then she asked Xiao Xiaoqi to help dig 2 wild grape trees. When the trees they needed were picked, they hid them into the bushes and would carry them back when they were heading home. Only now did Xiao Xiaoqi start to lead them to hunt for animals. This time, Xiaoxian did not use her superpower to hunt prey for Xiao Xiaoqi. Instead, she had been using her superpower to search for some precious plants. The 2 Ganoderma lucidum were not enough to develop the space, and she needed to add some more things inside. Without the guidance of superpower, Xiao Xiaoqi took some time to find the preys. But he was not in a hurry either. He was guiding Xiaoxian and the rest of his team to walk through the woods. It took them almost an hour before Xiaoxian found a patch of wild orchids, one of which looked more than ordinary. Boxinovial. She had no idea what the orchids were called, but she believed that they were very precious. Xiaoxian's eyes brightened as she walked towards that plant. The others did not care about the direction either, because they were idling in the woods anyway. Therefore they caught up with Xiaoxian. "Look, darling, the orchids look so beautiful. What about taking them home? They look very nice and graceful." Scholars tended to like this kind of thing. Xiao Yinduan had no such hobbies, but he threw a few more glances at the orchids when he heard what she said. They did look very good. So he was persuaded and nodded. "Sounds good." Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao exchanged a surprised look between themselves. They just could not understand why the orchids looked elegant. Xiaoxian headed towards the special orchid, bent and picked it up. But she kept the posture instead of straightening up. The next moment, her hands were empty and next to the spring there appeared another bunch of orchids, facing the Ganoderma lucidum in the space. The long leaves were hanging down, dangling beautifully. Xiaoxian could feel that the space became even more lively, not to a large degree, but there were some changes. Overjoyed, Xiaoxian realized that the space would take in any precious plants. She was right about the orchid being more than ordinary, but what was it called? Also, the space was so craving and demanding so many things. She would feed the space when she had something good. The activeness of the space would frighten anyone who saw it. Chapter 61. Rabbit Nest. Xiaoxian picked 2 more orchids, but there was no activity in the space. After the orchids were taken, they continued to hunt prey. Xiaoxian suddenly felt that the superpower was expanding. It was getting more sensitive as well. It was getting late and they headed home. Xiao Xiaoqi had hunted 3 roosters, but Xiaoxian did not have time to boost him. She thought for a while and decided to drop the idea. Too many prey might draw attention, and this amount was enough. She had the superpower, with which she did not have to worry about anything. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao thought the same. So they went to pick the chopped trees and started to head home. But suddenly, On the way home, Xiaoxian sensed a big activity. On a hill 30 meters away from them, there were hundreds of wild rabbits that had dug hundreds of nests. Thanks to the terrain, it was indeed a kingdom of rabbits. Xiaoxian got so overjoyed. She paused and turned in that direction. There is a wild grape tree growing really vividly at that place. I want to take it home. Her small request was not turned down by anyone from the team, so they decided to head towards that place. Then, Xiaoqi accidentally noticed the rabbits on the hill, and as he took a closer look in that direction, he saw that there were so many of them. Fifth brother, fifth sister-in-law, Tao, just come and see. There are so many wild rabbits here. This must be their kingdom. How wonderful. Boxin OVL. Com Xiao Zioki's eyes sparkled. He was really excited. Xiao Tao cheered. Remember this place. Henceforth, we will have endless wild rabbits to eat. Xiaoxian nodded with a smile. Same as what I think. They could not help but try to get some more prey on their way home. Xiaoqi had the itch of holding the arrow and brought down 2 wild rabbits. The rabbits, which were eating grass next to them, hushed into the hole. Xiaoqi went to pick up the 2 rabbits and smiled at them. I have created this place in mind. Xiaoxian smiled. That makes everything so easy. Yes. Now they were fully loaded. Apart from the roosters, rabbits and trees, they had got some more mushrooms, including wild shiitakes, enoki mushrooms and porcini mushrooms. They even pulled out a bunch of wild onions, as well as cress by the creeks. On their way home, they paused and happened to find a patch of yams. They dug 3 to 4 kilos of them. Xiaoqi smiled. We won't make it today, but tomorrow me and Tao, as well as my elder sister-in-law, will come to dig up everything from this patch. Yams can be stored, and they don't go bad even after being stored for 2 months in the dungeon of the yard. Xiao Tao smiled. Yams are my favorite food. Pink and sticky, very tasty. Xiaoqi added. Fifth sister-in-law, will you be able to make any dishes with yams? Xiao Yinduan and Xiao Tao turned to Xiaoxian when he asked the question. Xiao Yinduan was curious, but Xiao Tao was looking forward to the answer. Xiaoxian smiled. Of course, yes. We can walk, stew, cook porridge and serve cold dishes with yams. We can also make yam mash, steamed hams, crush them or add egg flour to make yam cakes, dry and grind yam into powder to make yam pastry, and hang syrup to make yam desserts. Xiao Tao gasped. So many ways of eating yams. Everything sounded so tasty. Xiaoqi could not help but show a drooling look. Fifth brother, you are so lucky to have married such a capable fifth sister-in-law. Xiao Yinduan. Xiaoxian laughed. We can stew wild roosters with yams tonight, then we can also eat woked sliced yams and syrup yams. Now I am craving for them too. Chapter 62. Sour. Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao nodded out of excitement. They hurried back home. Once they went back home, Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao became busy in processing the yams, mushrooms and roosters, whilst Xiao Yinduan kept Xiaoxian company and helped to put down the wild lemons and bergamots as well as grapes. As the wild grapes were planted in the opening place inside the land, Xiaoxian decided to set up a frame. She decided to try if the superpower could change the quality of the fruits, which she firmly believed could. She was especially satisfied by the 2 wild lemons, and she looked at them with deep affection. Xiao Yinduan could not help but ask, would the fruits taste good when planted in this way? Xiaoxian smiled. What do you think? Xiao Yinduan thought for a while and said, maybe not. The fruits looked like citruses, but they were not. On the other hand, fruit trees such as wild citrus produced fruits that were basically either bitter, astringent or sour, and could not be eaten at all. Xiaoxian smiled. You are right, the fruits would taste very sour. Xiao Yinduan just could not understand. He became even more curious. Then, why did you bring them home as if they were precious things? Xiaoxian answered. I like sour things. Xiao Yinduan. He felt that she was talking about something else. She likes sour things? Did she mean that she could get sour and jealous very easily? That made Xiao Yinduan's heart skip a beat. But then Xiaoxian chuckled. All right, I will not tease you any more. Lemons are sour, but they are good for seasoning, better than vinegar. You wait until I make some dishes for you to taste, when the fruits get ripened. There were many dishes that could be made with lemons, such as lemon ducks, lemon chicken, lemon shrimps, lemon fish, lemon ribs, sugar lemon syrup, lemon honey water, etc. However, the pity was that they could not buy a large amount of chicken feet, otherwise she could make a very tasty chicken feet dish. Xiao Yunduan stiffened and let out a very expressionless okay. He started to feel a bit shameless inside his heart. He had misunderstood her again. She just wanted to make dishes with lemons and meant nothing else. What was he thinking about? Luckily she was not aware of what he was thinking, otherwise. Xiaoxian saw that his interest had dropped, and thought that he may not have believed her. So she kept explaining to him. It is true. Trust me, wild lemons create yummy dishes. I am sure that you will change your mind after one bite. Xiao Yunduan replied. I don't like sour things. Xiaoxian blinked. Then you definitely need to try the dishes, they have a different kind of sourness. Xiao Yunduan. He really had no interest in hearing the word sour anymore. It would make him think too much of what should not have been considered. Just have a try. She insisted. Okay. Xiao Yunduan simply wanted to end the topic. Xiaoxian chuckled. There was no flower pot for orchids, so Xiao Yunduan decided to buy some porcelain pots from the porcelain sellers. He was going to put down the orchids as soon as possible. Xiaoxian insisted on going there with him. The village was very close to where they lived, and it took them less than 10 minutes. There were all kinds of porcelain at the store, some of which were terribly made, and some were nature-looking and possessed ancient elements. Xiaoxian was obsessed with everything on the shelf. Xiao Yunduan picked 6 pots, and the seller tied up everything with one straw rope. They were headed home as it was getting late. On the way home, they suddenly heard a man and a woman talking with each other in the bushes. The steamed bun tastes so good, the filling is leeks with eggs. I have not yet eaten such delicious food for so long. Just enjoy yourself, I can bring you 2 more around this time tomorrow. Chapter 63 Cultivated Talent's Wife. Do you want to have a bite too? No thanks, I have food at home. Brother Xiao, you are so nice. I wonder if we can get married, as we wish to. Don't worry, I already told my mom that I will only marry you. I will tell mom again tomorrow. She is a very soft-hearted person, and I am her son. I am sure that she will give her consent to our marriage. Really? You should not lie to me. I will definitely not. Ah, the steamed buns are so tasty. Xiaoxian tilted her head and looked at Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan had no expression on his face, but he was not in a good mood. Xiaoxian used her superpower and figured out who the boy and the girl were. The boy was Xiao Sanlang, Xiao Yunduan's brother, whilst the other was a 16-years-old girl. She was dressed in a blouse with many stitched patches and her hair had turned yellow. But her skin was fair, and her lips were very thin. She had a very tall nose bridge, and looked quite pretty. But for the malnutrition, she would have looked even better. Young Xiaoni, which was the name that emerged inside Xiaoxian's head. Her brother-in-law was talking about marrying a girl like that, but her mother-in-law did not say anything about it. She had no idea why there was no approval, and she had an interest in gossip. She believed that her mother-in-law must have had some reason to turn down the marriage. Xiaoxian was quite surprised to hear how young Xiaoni talked, and what she looked like. She seemed like a very nice girl. Xiao Yunduan was, however, thinking inside his heart that his brother was acting so unreliably. What was he doing here? He was speaking so loudly close to the road. It was lucky that it had been him and Xiaoxian who heard their conversation. What if they were heard by someone else? Moreover, he should not have had a date with someone privately. It was so immoral. Xiao Yunduan made some coughing sound. The voices in the bushes stopped suddenly. Brother, it is getting late, time to go home. Xiao Yunduan said. Then a shushing sound came, and Xiao Sanlang walked out. Behind him was young Xiaoni, who looked bashful and was twisting the hem of her blouse. Oh, brother and sister-in-law. Xiao Sanlang scratched his head, looking timid. Cultivated talent Xiao, and cultivated talent's wife, I need to leave. Young Xiaoni forced a smile and greeted Xiao Yunduan and Xiaoxian. As she dashed off, Xiaoxian almost held her laughter. Cultivated talent's wife. What kind of title was that? You went to buy pots for flowers? Oh, there are so many of them. Let me carry some for you. Xiao Sanlang said with a flattering laugh, and grabbed the pots from Xiao Yunduan's arms. He blinked at his brother and begged, "Brother, please don't mention this to Mom, okay? Keep this a secret for me, and I will give you all, no, half of what I earn for real." He needed to use the other half to buy food for Xiaoni. Xiao Yunduan looked at him with no expression on his face. "You better pray that no one else will pass by you in the future." Xiao Sanlang's face changed as he said regretfully, I wasn't paying attention. There were no rules in the countryside like this. Girls from farmers' families went down to the field to work. There was always a matchmaker who would arrange the marriage, if the two sides found each other to be good suitors. But private dates did not work that well. There would be gossip and rumors spread all around, once they were heard and seen like this. Moreover, Mom did not like the Yang family. Chapter 64 No explanation. It is my fault. Xiao Sanlang struck his own head. He looked so anxious. What should we do? Brother, please help me think of a solution. Xiao Yunduan frowned. Brother. Xiao Sanlang got anxious. You can't watch me suffer just because you have married such a good wife. I even helped you drive away bad people in the past. Xiao Xian could not help but throw a look at Xiao Yunduan, who happened to be looking at her. Xiao Xian was smiling and Xiao Yunduan instantly withdrew his look. He could not make it clear to his brother about his actual relationship with Xiao Xian. How can I help you? The girl is good, but her brother and sister-in-law want 80 liang as the wedding gifts, not a one less. What can you expect Mom to do? Xiao Sanlang was struck speechless. Xiao Xian was surprised too. No wonder her mother-in-law did not approve of the marriage. Even though the girl was good and her son loved her. It was Yang Xiaoni's brother and sister-in-law who were the issue. 80 liang, that was really too much. It seemed that they believed Yang Xiaoni was the girl whom the man loved, and that their sister would be able to get a lot of wedding gifts from her future in-laws. If they had only asked for 20 liang, then her mother-in-law might have tried her best to offer that. Xiao Sanlang let out a sigh of disappointment. That couple is just crazy. They bully Xiaoni every day and make her do all kind of hard work. They even starve her. Brother, she is really suffering from a terrible life. Oh please. Xiao Sanlang turned to Qiao Xian, sounding hesitant. Before he could say anything, Xiao Yunduan said, Stop it. Xiao Sanlang let out a sigh of disappointment and said nothing. Qiao Xian got it. The brother-in-law wanted to ask for a loan from her dowry, and hence, Xiao Yunduan interrupted him when he found it not to be proper. Qiao Xian had no intention of getting involved, but now she turned a little soft-hearted. She asked in a soft tone, Brother, can you talk with Mom about having a talk with the Yang family? Maybe they are just asking for a price randomly, and we can negotiate the bride price. No one else would offer such money either. Honestly speaking, even if the girl is sold as a maid to some rich family, the price would be 20 liang. The Yang family should know what to do. Xiao Sanlang did not feel that he was offended. Instead, his eyes sparkled. True. You are right, they should know that marrying Xiaoni to me is the best deal. Thanks, sister-in-law, I will talk with Mom about it. Xiao Xian smiled. You are welcome. Xiao Sanlang smiled and turned to Xiao Yunduan. You think I can make it this time? Xiao Yunduan said. I am not sure. They could not predict what the Yang family would think. His mother had been to the family twice, and the couple should know about his brother's affection towards Xiaoni. His mother's third visit would make things worse, maybe. Xiao Sanlang looked annoyed. Can't you say something nice? Xiao Yunduan sighed. Pretty words don't work. Xiao Sanlang. Qiao Xian chuckled. As they returned home, they chopped the orchids and Qiao Xian went to the kitchen to make some more dishes. Chapter 65 Coldness. Xiao Taotao and Xiao Xiaoqi were waiting for Qiao Xian, and they cheered as they caught sight of her. Fifth sister-in-law, we have already dealt with the chicken, rabbits and yams. We are all waiting for you. Even Ms. Fang and Ms. Su were wearing a look of expectation. They all liked the dishes Qiao Xian made. In the past, they only knew how to stew and braise wild roosters and rabbits, but she was able to create different ways of eating, which they never got tired of. Gradually, the whole family became slightly biased about Qiao Xian's food. As for her splurging of oil, salt and seasoning, well, they could just ignore that. Xiaoxian nodded with a smile and went into the kitchen, with her sleeves rolled up. They had 3 wild roosters and 2 wild rabbits. 2 of the rabbits were hidden, unknown to the other sections of the family. When the ants from the other 2 sections came to get a wild rooster for each of them, Ms. Fang ignored them. They only had 1 wild rooster and 1 rabbit for her own family, and the other wild rabbit could be left for tomorrow night. The yams were stewed with chicken and porcinis, whilst rabbits were fried with chili and garlic. Then, she soaked a handful of fungus that had dried 2 days ago, cut water celery into sections, sliced yams with an oblique knife, and stir-fried them together. Not only was the dish fresh and delicious, but the color looked really bright as well. After that, she fried a dish of lettuce. The yams were diced and served on the table after being well placed. Soon, she made 1 more dish of sugar-coated yams. As they were about to eat the food, Xiaoxian told everyone to eat the sugar-coated yams first. It would not taste good when it gets cold. The whole yams had been cooled with a layer of amber-colored syrup, looking crystal clear and beautiful. Even the air felt sweet, delicious, and attractive. Everyone started to pick up the chopsticks. Oh, it is so delicious. It is very sweet and nice. How did you come up with this idea of making yams? Let me eat some more. Ms. Su was surprised too. She, on one hand, gave some to her children while stuffing a lot into her own mouth. She believed that the dish would taste equally good even after it turned cold. Ms. Fang was also a little worried about the sugar, thinking that Ms. Qiao had used too much of it. She was going to tell her to save some sugar, even though it was bought with her own money. Seeing her grandchildren enjoying themselves, Ms. Fang said with a smile, "You have eaten so much, third son. Don't eat any more, spare some for Zhenyan and Qing." Eldest uncle was eating as he started to speak. "All children like it. We can spare some, so Tao Tao can share some with Xianwen and Wan later." Xiao Xianwen and Xiao Wan were the grandchildren of the second uncle. Cold air spread across the table the moment the words were spoken. Xiao Xian pursed her lips. It was enough. Ms. Fang sneered. "We have very little ourselves, and we will get troubled by the second and the third sections of the family. I don't think they will get enough of our food." Xiao Sanling nodded. "True." Then he stuffed a slice into his own mouth again. Xiao Zhenyan had just finished what he was given in the bowl, and he wanted to have some more. But Miss Su did not dare to take any more slices after hearing what her father-in-law said. She consoled him by patting his back and offered him wild roosters instead. Ms. Fang did not care. She gave Xiao Zhenyan some more and said, "Lovely grandson, we barely have a chance to eat such a thing. Take as much as you want." She did not want to share anything with any other sections of the family when she had her grandchildren to take care of. Chapter 66. Not countering eldest uncle's face sank. Xiao Yinduan said, "Dad, just eat your food. We can share some things when we have more in the future." Qiao Xian smiled. "True, when we have sugar next time, I can make half a basin for them if they want." As for the dishes on the table, she had full control of them since she bought them with her dowry. Ms. Fang snapped, "I won't buy this much sugar." Eldest uncle was stuck with anger. Why was Miss Qiao talking about her dowry all the time? He simply had no way to counter her. He could only abstain from eating every dish bought with her dowry. But there was nothing else he could do. After all, he could not stop the others from eating the dishes. Eldest uncle suddenly felt very sad. It seemed as if he were like an outsider, though he was the master of the family, whilst the others present belonged to another family. Xiao Xian had no idea what Xiao Sanlang said to her mother-in-law, but she found that her mother-in-law looked very gloomy the following morning. After breakfast, Ms. Fang asked Xiao Xian to come to her side. "Miss Qiao, could you please accompany me to a place later?" She had been feeling embarrassed when she first started the conversation, but gradually, she got excited. Honestly, that couple of the Yang family are goddamned hooligans, right? 80 Liang? Do they think that young Xiaoni is a fairy? We are trying to talk about marriage, but they are selling their sister. They want nothing but money. They annoyed me so badly last time. But young Xiaoni is a very strong girl, and she can do a lot of labor work. Moreover, my son loves her, but what can we do about her family? And this son of mine seems to be so obsessed with her. What do I do about it? Ms. Fang made a lot of complaints and told Xiao that she was very clever, so she hoped that she could keep her company while visiting the Yang family. Ms. Su was not reliable. She did bring Ms. Su with her last time, but the daughter-in-law did not dare to utter any words. She just stood there motionlessly like a piece of wood. Xiao would not turn down her mother-in-law's request. She consoled her and said with a smile, "Mom, if you like that girl from the Yang family and my brother loves her, then I will keep you company. But how much do you want to offer as a wedding present to them? We need to have an estimate for the bottom line figure." Ms. Fang suddenly felt her heart ache. They had no savings at home. The other sections of the family kept their eyes glued upon all the income she earned from selling pigs, chickens, ducks, eggs, beans, and even peanuts. Xiao Yunduan was quite frugal at school, and often earned his pocket money by copying books in exchange for paper and ink with bookstores. She also hunted many animals which brought in some income. But Xiao Yunduan's wedding almost cost them everything they had, so she had less than 10 liang in savings. This was after accumulating the change she earned as well as the payment she got from Xiao Dalong's salary from Qiao, as well as the 5 Qian Xiao Xiaoqi offered to her a couple of days ago. She decided to borrow 2 liang from some friends because by the end of the year, she could get 10 liang after selling the pigs. 10 at most, or 11 liang no more. 10 liang was already a large amount. Villagers did not have a rich life. And for those who had the intention of starting a martial relationship, 3 or 5 liang would already be enough. 6 or 7 liang would mean a large wedding. Chapter 67, meaning 10 liang was already over the top. But the Yang family had asked for 80 liang, and 10 liang might not work. Mom, Xiao smiled. What about me offering 10 liang as well, and together, we have 20 liang? Listen to me, Mom. I don't do housework, and third sister-in-law might not like me after she comes to our family because of my laziness. But if I pay the 10 liang here, she will not be able to say anything bad about me. Then, we will have one large, happy family. I am actually taking advantage of you all. Ms. Fang was startled. After thinking about it, she could not utter a word in response. She sighed. Miss Qiao, this is Mom. Xiao smiled. My husband is studying at school and you all support him. So it is our duty to make contributions to the family. When my husband gets a promising job in the future, he is going to take care of the family. Okay. Ms. Fang patted her hand slightly. It is Duan's luck to have married a wife like you. If he ever treats you badly, you have to tell me. I will teach him a lesson on your behalf. No matter whether he is going to have a promising future, he will never betray you. Xiaoxian's heart turned warm and she said with a smile, Mom, I will keep your words in mind. If my husband treats me badly, I will report him to you directly so you can hit him. Ms. Fang smiled. Of course. You are so nice, Mom. Outside the room, Xiao Yunduan left from there, but he felt that his feet were floating high on the air. His head had turned messy. He really had no idea what this woman was thinking about. What did she mean? She should not have made such an offer. Moreover, it wasn't so nice to say things so boldly. What was she thinking all the time? After Qiao and Ms. Fang were done with the discussion, they headed to the Yang family together. Yang Xiaoni's parents passed away ages ago, and her brother, Yang Liang, and sister-in-law, Miss Tian, were both lazy and greedy. They should have gone out for work by this hour. But in the Yang family, only Yang Xiaoni was forced to do the hard work whilst Yang Liang was just idling around and Miss Tian was lazing around at home. Seeing Ms. Fang coming over with her daughter-in-law, Miss Tian's eyes sparkled. Oh hey, you are here again, come in and take a seat. She sized up Qiao and displayed a look of greed. She showed a hidden smile. This daughter-in-law of yours couldn't have been born in the countryside. She must be your 5th daughter-in-law. The daughter of the county magistrate, right? Oh, she looks so beautiful. Only a cultivated talent can be a match for her. Ms. Fang knew what Miss Tian was doing, but she was happy to hear what was being said, so she added, My daughter-in-law is a very good girl. Of course. Miss Tian showed a smile and sent her elder son to get his father back. After a few sentences, Miss Tian asked purposefully, What are you doing here? Ms. Fang was cursing her inwardly. This Ms. Tian was trying to calculate Ms. Qiao. But for her stupid son who had fallen for young Xiaoni, she would not have walked into a family like this ever in her life. Who would want to hang out with someone like this? Ms. Fang smiled. Let's wait until your husband comes back. Ms. Tian smiled and said confidently, Of course, my husband makes decisions for all kinds of important things in the house. Soon Yang Liang hurried back. He looked at Ms. Qiao and Ms. Fang, greeting them happily. Chapter 68 Yang Xiaoni's happiness. Yang Liang was sizing up Qiao Xian while they were talking. He looked greedy and indecent. Qiao Xian felt very disgusted. Ms. Fang sank her face and coughed. Yang Liang, you two know what I am here for. We think that Xiaoni is very diligent and kind, so we need to talk about the wedding gift. Yang Liang and his wife exchanged a look between themselves. They looked really proud. They knew that the Xiao family would be coming to them. Ms. Tian snapped inside her heart. What was so good about young Xiaoni? Xiao Sanlang was so obsessed that he just wanted to marry her. The Xiao family was a good family. Why should young Xiaoni go and enjoy herself? Ms. Fang was not a very good-tempered woman, and they even had one cultivated talent at home. It was said that the second and the third section of the family were not very good-tempered either, so they needed to find some way to control them. The little bit Xiaoni was good-looking enough to marry anyone. She should stay at home and do some more labor before she married some old man as a concubine. That was a better plan. Ms. Tian believed that as long as young Xiaoni married someone bad, she could be flexible with the wedding gifts. It was because of this thought, Yang Liang asked for a very high price as wedding gifts. Otherwise, Yang Liang would have said yes about the Yang family marrying young Xiaoni. Yang Liang smiled. Ms. Fang, my sister is very good-looking, and she is worth around 100 liang. If you want to have her as part of your family, you won't care about this little amount of money, would you? What are you talking about? Ms. Fang was both surprised and angry. 100 liang? You raised the price. And this little amount of money? Did the Yang family have this much? Yang Liang said. Of course you have got a rich daughter-in-law. Why do you care so much about this little amount of money? True. Miss Tian showed a false smile. When your fifth daughter-in-law held the wedding, she had 26 sets of dowry. That is more than 100 liang, right? Yang Liang nodded in agreement and then added, 100 liang and 6 sets of cotton garments. Ms. Tian said, also a pair of silver hairpins and 1 pair of bracelets. Ms. Fang got so annoyed. How dare you say these things? We can have any girl as a daughter-in-law we want. Yours is not necessary. Ms. Fang was so annoyed. She had never met anyone so disgusting. Ms. Tian let out a snort. She said slowly, Ms. Fang, you have a fifth daughter-in-law who has so much dowry. You don't even want to pay this much money. I think it is because you are not actually sincere. Ms. Fang snapped. Ms. Qiao has full control of her dowry. We would never covet it. Also, we would never pay so much to marry someone home. Stop dreaming. It seems we have nothing to talk about anymore. Miss Qiao, let's leave. Ms. Fang regretted having paid such a visit. It was so humiliating. She swore that she was not going to be here ever again. She was not going to bring in young Xiaoni as her daughter-in-law either. She was going to teach her third son a lesson. She was going to find another suitable girl for him, so he could forget about young Xiaoni. Mom. Xiao Xian patted Ms. Fang's hand and said to them, young Xiaoni is 18 years old. You want to keep her until she becomes too old? If we have her as the daughter-in-law, we will definitely not treat her badly. You really don't want to allow her to be part of our family, right? Chapter 69 Xiao Xian's idea. Yang Liang was startled and started to hesitate. He knew pretty well that but for Xiao Sanlang's affection towards Xiaoni, no families would turn their eyes upon a family like them. Miss Tian sneered. You don't have to worry about a thing. Xiao Xian suddenly realized what was going on. Miss Tian was trying to make this marriage not happen. All families were worried that their girls would be too old to get married. Yet Miss Tian feared nothing. She did not care about young Xiaoni, nor did she care about her reputation. She disliked young Xiaoni. No, she hated her. We want to offer 20 liang as a wedding gift. Are you not going to consider it? No, no way. Think about this, and we will come to you in a couple of days, said Xiao and left with Ms. Fang. Mom, let's go to the village and find the land officer there. We can ask the chiefs of the Yang family for help. Ms. Fang sighed. Silly girl, it won't work even if we speak with them. They can't make the decision either. Yang Liang and Ms. Tian are a greedy couple, and they won't listen to anyone. It was always the parents who decided who their daughter should marry. And when the parents were gone, their siblings would make the decision instead. Who else could have the authority? Qiao sneered. Mom, we don't need them to have the decision-making authority. What we need is just to let the Yang village know that we are here to establish a marital relationship sincerely. There should be a turning point after that. Ms. Fang, who was angry, suddenly turned lively. She nodded. We can discuss this in detail. We should let everyone know what is going on, and at least we can make the couple feel bad. Ms. Fang did not think that there would be any turning point, but she could at least vent the anger. So they headed to the land officer of the Yang village, and then they went to the chiefs and aunts. All of them could not help but sigh. Soon, the story spread all over the whole village. Yang Liang and his wife are crazy. Xiaoni is very pretty, and the Xiao family are so devoted. How could they say no? True, that is 20 liang. My daughter's wedding gift was only 6 liang. The couple is really terrible, you know. Miss Tian lectures and hits Xiaoni and she has to do all the labor of the family. They would not want to marry her away. But Xiaoni has grown up. Are they going to keep her next to them forever? That is just too immoral. How dare you marry a girl to their family? It is definitely a pit. Poor Xiaoni. She has no parents. Her brother is such a useless man and her sister-in-law is stingy. Sigh. Poor girl. Poor girl indeed. Yang Liang was so humiliated that he did not dare to go out. He was the brother, yet he was doing something wrong. Ms. Fang got really annoyed. She cursed at Ms. Fang and Ms. Qiao, and then she called the villagers nosy. They were not in the position to discuss their family affairs. It had nothing to do with them. I can marry my sister-in-law to anyone I want. None of your business. I don't care about the goddamn Xiao family. You can take them from me if you want to. Chapter 70. Ms. Tian's fierce words. Ms. Tian cursed the whole village, and everyone, who heard her, could not help but shake their heads. They were looking down at her. It was a common thing if a sister-in-law did not like her husband's sister, since stepmothers never liked the children from the previous marriage. Yet Ms. Tian's behavior was way over the top. She was not only forcing young Xiaoni to work hard and feed her no good food, but was also trying to ruin the rest of her life. Why was she not satisfied with the Xiao family? They were far better than the Yang family, and they even had a cultivated talent in the family, who could have a promising future. They had offered a high-priced wedding gift as well, worth 20 liang. The Yang family had never seen a wedding gift of over 20 liang. The couple was asking for far too much. They craved for 100 liang as well as silver hairpins and bracelets, as well as the best cotton. They were not really devoted to the marriage. They were trying to annoy the Xiao family. Ms. Tian complained all over the village, and someone reminded Yang Liang about his wife's behavior that might offend the whole village. If she caused a bad name for herself, their sons would never have any wife in the future. Only then did Yang Liang pull Ms. Tian back home. On the way home, Ms. Tian kept cursing loudly. Her 2 sons were too young to consider a potential wife. Ms. Tian could not help but get annoyed when she saw young Xiaoni back at home. She lectured constantly. Young Xiaoni had her own way of survival, and was used to being lectured by this sister-in-law of hers. She ignored those unfriendly words, and also idled about when she was supposed to be working out there. She was trying her best not to exhaust herself. Ms. Tian was extremely fierce today, but she ignored those words as usual. Ms. Tian could not help but stand up and slap young Xiaoni's face. She screamed, "Bitch, what are you wearing this expression for when I am speaking with you? Can't I just tell you a few words when you live under my roof? You have to turn to me and ask for my permission, if you want to marry into a good family. Let me tell you, you are never going to marry anyone good. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Young Xiaoni was startled. She got annoyed, furious, irritated and scared. With hands over her face, she rushed out. Young Xiaoni had 2 large handprints on each of her cheeks. As she ran all the way to 3rd Grandma Yang and 3rd Grandpa Yang, she was begging in tears for help. 3rd Grandpa Yang was her grandpa's brother, and he was the close relative to the Yang family when her parents were still alive. The 2 families had a relatively good relationship. Yang Liang was useless, and Ms. Tian was rude, so during the past few years, no one from the village had the interest of hanging out with them. But when young Xiaoni came to the door and begged for help, 3rd Grandma Yang and 3rd Grandpa Yang could not help but feel moved. What, Ms. Tian hit you? That is so cruel. 3rd Grandma Yang gasped as she said in a pitiful tone. She became increasingly annoyed when she thought of how Ms. Tian made ruckus across the whole village earlier that day. Soon, some chiefs and land officers were invited to 3rd Grandpa Yang's home. It was not a good thing if a rude and wild housewife was living in the village. The young village would be laughed at by others. They had to do something about this. Young Xiaoni felt slightly assured and stood there respectfully. Xiao Sanlang had come to her secretly on the ground earlier, and told her that if her sister-in-law hit her, she should go to 3rd Grandpa Yang for help with tears and eyes. She had not fully understood what was the reason for him saying so, but her sister-in-law did hit her. Chapter 71. The villagers look. If the chiefs and land officers could help her realize the wish, that would be great. Soon Yang Liang and Ms. Tian came over. Yang Liang's face sank as he glared at young Xiaoni. This damned girl had reported them to 3rd Grandpa Yang. What a heartless girl. Ms. Tian cursed young Xiaoni fiercely. You bitch. What are you being so crazy for? I feed you and give you a place to live, but you are not satisfied with it, and come to report your brother and sister-in-law to the public. How dare you? Hearing that she was turning the truth upside down, the chiefs and land officer as well as the villagers were disgusted and irritated. Ms. Tian, what are you talking about? Shame on you. You aren't afraid of being punished by heaven? The land officer said coldly, Ms. Tian, we have rules in our village. You are the Yang family's daughter-in-law, and you should not ruin your family's name. Your in-laws are dead, and Xiaoni has been working so devotedly for years. How can you treat her like this? Yang Liang, how dare you bully your sister like this? Aren't you afraid that your deceased parents would turn into ghosts and come to you at night? Yang Liang cringed and stood in the corner, showing a little fear. Ms. Tian shouted. Land officer, you should not wrong me. This bitch. Xiaoni has grown up and she can't just live under our roof without doing anything, right? Every girl in the village works. You don't know that this girl is really lazy and tricky. She is greedy and craves food all the time. If we don't urge her to work, she won't even move an inch. I have to teach her as a sister-in-law all the time. I am teaching her a lesson, not bullying her. Who says that I am bullying her? Come and show me the proof. You. The land officer was very annoyed. The villagers exchanged a helpless look among themselves and could not say a thing. It was a family affair that could not be explained clearly. No one could stand up and show the proof. How could there be a proof for something like this? Ms. Tian showed a look of pride and snorted. Bitch, what are you staying here for? You should remember which family you are living under. She meant to tell her that she was living under her roof. Young Xiaoni was sobbing as she grabbed 3rd Grandma Yang's arms. No, I am not going back. She is going to kill me. Shut up, that is enough. What are you talking about? Yang Liang was annoyed too as he snapped at her in a fierce voice. This bitch should not have spread bad things about the family to outsiders. You two treat her like this in front of us. How can we trust that you treat her well behind our back? 3rd Grandma Yang said annoyedly. I watched Xiaoni growing up and she is a really good girl. How can you think that you are reasonable when you lecture her in order to do this and that all the time? Ms. Tian, don't think so highly of yourself. Just because no one can prove it doesn't necessarily mean that you have done nothing. You know pretty well what you have done. Everyone can see that you have done something bad. Watch out for repayment. Okay, now, I am going to ask you what you are going to do with Xiaoni's marriage. Ms. Tian was feeling so annoyed and cursed this old grandma for being nosy. She snorted. That is our business. This is the Yang's family, and when your parents were alive they respected me enough. Xiaoni calls me third grandma, so I have the right to ask you about it. Miss Tian was about to say something when third grandma Yang said coldly, Yang Liang, you are the master of the family. Are you going to keep Xiaoni until she gets too old to marry someone? Are you sure this is the right thing to show respect to your parents? Chapter 72 Irritation. Yang Liang forced out a word. Of course not. Then, just make a decision about her marriage. Yang Liang was staggering. We are trying to find a suitor for her, aren't we? Oh yes. Third grandma Yang sneered. Xiao Dakin's family offers you 20 liang, but you still don't think that is enough? What kind of family do you plan to find? Ms. Tian said. The Xiao family is so rich. If they want to set up the marriage, they need to offer more than 20 liang. They are looking down at us. We can't marry her to the Xiao family. So you find someone better? The land officer said. The Xiao family has a lot of money, but the money is at their disposal. 20 liang is well over the standard for a village wedding. Ms. Tian immediately responded. We are seeking a good suitor for her all the time. Nonsense. Third grandma Yang was terribly annoyed by the shameless words spoken by Ms. Tian. Ms. Fang and Qiao Xian had gone to their home for help. Moreover, Ms. Fang gave her the money, which was enough for buying at least 300 kilograms of rice. That pleased her a great deal. Ms. Fang had even suggested that she was going to offer more money if the marriage worked out well. Third grandma Yang had naturally agreed to help. She felt sorry for young Xiaoni, but she was not part of the family, so she could not say something rashly. Also, Miss Tian was a very fierce woman, and no one would dare to irritate her for no reason. But things were different at the moment. Young Xiaoni came to ask her for help in tears, and she, as the elderly woman in the village, could not just push away the girl under such circumstances. That was why she decided to get involved. Miss Tian had managed to irritate the whole village, and this was the best time to do something about it. Third grandma Yang said coldly, I will tell you this today. Xiaoni is a poor girl and she is asking me for help, so I will not leave her alone. If you are not satisfied by the Xiao family's proposal, you need to find someone better than the Xiao family quickly. Xiaoni is no longer young and she can't wait. You have to settle this marriage for her within 1 month. Yang Liang, you better bear in mind that young Xiaoni is your sister. Miss Tian, we can't allow this thing to spread outside our village. If you continue to cause trouble, you better go to the ancestral hall and get your mind cleared. The other chiefs nodded in agreement. Everyone was looking at Miss Tian with disgust. The reputation of the Yang family could not be ruined because of this woman. Miss Tian was very annoyed as she glared back at young Xiaoni. We are a poor family and we have no parents who defend us. You all are bullying me and we have nowhere to express ourselves. Third grandma Yang got so annoyed that she glared at Miss Tian. This woman was very tricky and annoying. What she said could just make anyone hearing her words get irritated. Third grandma Yang got very annoyed. She was a respected elderly woman who had never been countered by anybody younger like this. She would not allow this woman to oppose her publicly. If she retreated now, she would be humiliated as well. So third grandma Yang stuck to her suggestion, and the land officer, as well as the chiefs, all took her side and held a grudge against Ms. Tian. No matter how Ms. Tian tried to turn the truth upside down, young Xiaoni's marriage would most likely be settled in the way as third grandma Yang had suggested. It had to be settled in 1 month's time. If they did not like the Xiao family, the couple needed to find someone who exceeded the Xiao family in some way. Chapter 73 Dumb. Since she kept saying that they were doing this for young Xiaoni's sake, then alright, do it for her. Young Xiaoni did not want to go home with her brother and sister-in-law. Third grandma, land officer, and chief grandpas, could I just stay at the ancestral hall? I can do all kinds of work. Third grandma, I can work for you, but please just give me some food. I don't eat much, really not. Young Xiaoni cried so badly as she did not let go of third grandma Yang's arms. Everyone felt sorry for her, but could not say a thing. The ancestral hall was very sinister, with no one living there and nothing except for the ancestral tablets. Only those who made big mistakes would be ordered to live there. Otherwise, no one else would do so willingly. This girl must have got so frightened that she could not think clearly. If this couple had any conscience, this girl would not have made such a request. Both Yang Liang and Ms. Tian were furious. What are you doing? Just follow us home quietly. Why are you going to the ancestral hall when you have a home? Yang Liang's veins were almost popping out on his forehead. This ungrateful girl. Ms. Tian sneered. This damned girl is thinking about doing no work. Don't listen to her nonsense. Yang Liang got even more furious. He tugged at young Xiaoni and said, just shut up and come home with us. Young Xiaoni cried loudly. Please save me, third Grandma Yang, please. No one should live in the ancestral hall for no reason. Third Grandma Yang sighed and said, it is okay, Xiaoni, just go home. If anyone hits you or lectures you, just come to me and I will seek justice for you. We are a family and we should not allow anyone to preach or hit people. We will teach her a lesson, if she dares to do so. We need to make sure that the whole clan is clean and has a good reputation. The other aunts also came to console young Xiaoni, who was still crying out of fear. All the bystanders felt very sorry. What a pity. She was a nice girl, but with such a couple as the brother and sister-in-law, she was going to suffer a great deal. In the end, third Grandma Yang asked young Xiaoni to stay at her place overnight and leave the next day. Yang Liang and Ms. Tian glared at young Xiaoni and left. The bystanders all sighed, shook their heads and also left. Back at home, Ms. Tian kept hitting Yang Liang whilst cursing him. Yang Liang felt so annoyed that he started to dislike young Xiaoni as well. She was just asked to do some labor work. What was she being so stingy for? Her brother and sister-in-law were supporting her. In return, she did not even want to help with some work. Worse, she even got her brother and sister-in-law humiliated in front of the whole village. Daughters always turned their elbows out against their own family. Ms. Fang learned of what happened at the Yang family the following day. She told Xiao Xian about this, but she also felt quite worried. Xiao Xian consoled her. Don't worry, Mom. Young Xiaoni seems to be quite clever, and she won't lose much. Miss Tian won't dare to kill her anyway, right? Mom, what about reminding third brother that he should not meet young Xiaoni privately for some time? What if they were caught? That would be very bad. Ms. Fang agreed and told Xiao Sanling about this. Xiao Sanling was very anxious. He was afraid that young Xiaoni would face trouble. But he did not dare to do a thing, especially since his mother warned him not to be impulsive. Xiao Xian's land was finally ready. There was no brick wall around the patch, but bamboos were set up around the perimeter. Behind that, all the iron fences dug from the mountains were put up and wild roses, which could climb along the wall, were planted as well. Chapter 74. Xiao Xian smiled. Xiao Xian had transplanted all those plants from mountains and later, she was going to use her superpower, so they could grow beautifully. When Xiao Dalong was helping with the fence, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were getting ready to buy some flowers in the city. Xiao Xian smiled. Actually, Qi and Tao Tao would be enough to come along with me. This visit might waste your study time. I don't want Mom and Dad to blame me. Xiao Yunduan said. It is fine, I also need to walk around a little. She was his wife, at least in name, and it was normal that he kept her company on her trip. The Qiao family did not treat her well. What if they ran into the Qiao family and she was bullied by them? What would Qi and Tao Tao be able to do about it? Xiao Xian smiled and accepted the offer. There was only one flower store in the city, and offered just a few kinds of flowers. Xiao Xian bought all the flowers including pomegranates, jasmines, gardenias, cloves, Chinese roses, ordinary roses, sweet-scented osmanthus, white orchids. The bullock cart was filled with them. The florist was very happy and even gave her some rebate. All those flowers were very commonly seen varieties, and the whole thing cost her only 3 liang. The flowers were unloaded and Xiao Xiaoqi, as well as Xiao Taotao, came over to help carry the flowers under Xiao Xian's instruction. Ms. Su, who had been working on the fences, joined them too. Ms. Su was smiling happily. She had been very motivated to work recently. She got up when dawn broke and had even taken over all the housework, including washing clothes and dishes, even feeding the pigs before coming to the land to help. The land work wasn't an easy job, so Xiaoxian gave them a raise, making it 31 a day. Xiaoxian got a pair of scissors, and she cut away many twigs of those flowers and planted them into the earth directly. It looked quite easy. Ms. Su could not help but say, "Fifth sister-in-law, I know how to plant Chinese roses. Would this make it grow properly?" Xiaoxian nodded with a smile. Yes, they are just ordinary plants, and this method surely would work. The budding would happen very soon, within a few days. Oh yes. Ms. Su was a bit suspicious but did not think that her fifth sister-in-law would lie to her. She smiled. "Are you going to sell those flowers, but how?" Xiaoxian blinked and smiled. "Well, I will keep it a secret for now. You will know when the time comes. In fact, I might need your help too then." Ms. Su understood that when Xiaoxian asked for help, she always paid, so she smiled and said, "No problem. Just tell me what to do and I guarantee that you will be satisfied with my work." Xiaoxian nodded with a smile. "Thank you in advance, elder sister-in-law." When the fences were ready, the plants were all growing well, especially Chinese roses and ordinary roses, which grew very fast at this time of the year. Xiaoxian used a bit of her superpower, and no one found the growth strange either. But the volume needed was far beyond anticipation. Xiaoxian told the village that she was collecting Chinese roses and ordinary roses as well as some other flowers, and would pay between 1 to 21 for one branch. The whole village was excited. What is the fifth daughter-in-law of Xiao Dakin's family doing? Flowers don't make money. Chapter 75 Unreliable. The daughter of a rich family is just too unreliable. She is just burning money because she is rich. See, I knew that the Xiao family could not do anything about her. It is such bad luck that they have a daughter-in-law like this. It is not bad luck. She is wasting her own money, and the Xiao family are taking advantage of her money as well. That is true. Anyway, I am going to the mountain for a walk. Me too. The villagers all went into the mountains suddenly. There were many wildflowers and grass everywhere in the mountains, especially ordinary roses and gardenias, which were really easy to find. Those flowers, which were ignored in the past, were flourishing in front of her. Due to what happened with young Xiaoni, Xiaoxian was really favored by Ms. Fang, who would not say a thing about what she wanted to do. Ms. Fang was open-minded. She was spending her own money and had her own ideas about what to do. She, as the mother-in-law, should not get too worried. Nor would anyone else in the Xiao family say anything about it. But eldest uncle did not like it. He said involuntarily, "Ms. Qiao, the land is open now. You can plant some peanuts, beans, taros and sweet potatoes, which may help with some income. What are you planting flowers for? They are just good-looking and not at all practical. It is such a waste." Xiaoxian smiled and explained, "Dad, I am going to keep some bees, and the flowers are for them. They don't ruin the land." Bees. Eldest uncle was startled and found the whole thing even more unreliable. Bees are not easy to keep. Just drop the idea. There are flowers everywhere in the mountains, and the bees can go anywhere they want. Why would they come here? Xiaoxian smiled. "My flowers are better and can offer more honey. Eldest uncle." He shook his head dejectedly and sighed. She was just so unreasonable. This daughter-in-law of his was so arrogant and never listened to the elderly's words. How annoying. He went to Ms. Fang and asked her to persuade her. Ms. Fang blamed him for being too nosy. She believed that it was not necessary to intervene in the matter. Eldest uncle got so annoyed. He just did not like Xiaoxian at all. But there was nothing he could do. Second uncle and third uncle both came over in anger. Both of them snapped at Xiaoxian for being unreliable and not fulfilling her promise. They saw that Xiao Dali and the other three were still working. Xiaoxian had forgotten about her promise of hiring them. "Why don't you let us do this easy work? You are paying outsiders, and not thinking about us." "True, brother. That is so unreasonable." Xiaoxian sneered inwardly. "Letting you work? That was like paying people in vain." Xiao Dali and those who were working for her were completely devoted to the task. They were not dragging their feet, and that was why Xiaoxian had raised their salary. If the second and the third sections of the family were to do the work, The task might not even be finished in 3 days. They were all full of tricks, and she had seen through them how they tried to cheat the first section of the family again and again. Before Xiao was able to speak, Xiao Yunduan walked out of the room and said, "Second uncle, third uncle, Brother Dolly are already very familiar with what they are doing right now. We can't just fire them halfway. We can talk about this next time." Second uncle got furious. "What are you talking about? You are just making up excuses all the time." Chapter 76 Qiao Xian's confirmation. Xiao Yunduan shrugged his arms. "Well, there is nothing I can do about it." Second uncle and third uncle got very annoyed. "Brother, what do you think of this? What do you want my dad to do about it?" Xiao Yunduan said coldly, "We are all from the Xiao family, and Brother Dolly is not outside the family either. You are trying to make us offend our family members?" Eldest uncle opened his mouth and closed it. "What about this, Miss Qiao? You can ask second uncle and third uncle to offer some help tomorrow too. They are elderly people of the family and you should pay them well." Qiao Xian said, "Oh, but I don't have any money right now. If our uncles want to offer help, they will only get paid when I have money." Normally, that basically meant that she was not going to give them any money. Second uncle and third uncle got very annoyed. They immediately turned down the idea. Qiao Xian spoke up again. "I just don't have any money right now." She had no money and the uncles should not possibly force her to offer money, right? Xiao Yunduan was standing next to them. And as a cultivated talent, second uncle and third uncle did not dare to counter Xiao Yunduan. So they kept making complaints to eldest uncle instead. But Qiao Xian did not care. If her father-in-law was lectured by his 2 brothers, it was not her fault. She was not that kind as to stop them. After all, it was her father-in-law who was willing to get blamed because of his kindness. There was no other way they could do it and get away with it if not for his willingness. Miss Fang could not stand it any longer. She came over and drove away second uncle and third uncle, who left in a fury. Eldest uncle was so annoyed. "Yunduan, you are a learned man, and you should understand that we need to have a harmonious family. How could you have said something like that to our family members?" Qiao Xian. She just ignored this blame, because it was not pointed at her. She was not going to make a connection. Xiao Yunduan said, "Family members should understand each other and know how they should love their family. Second uncle and third uncle are just confused at the moment, and soon they will understand what is going on." Eldest uncle. Qiao Xian almost burst out into laughter. Second uncle and third uncle got so annoyed that together with their wives, they went around the village and spread the rumor that Qiao Xian was not treating her family well. Everyone knew what the second and the third section of the Xiao family were like, so they all laughed away the rumor. Some who were jealous of the first section of the Xiao family added some fuel to fire. But those who sold things earlier did not say anything more after being countered by Qiao Xian a while ago. Qiao Xian had bought wood from them and paid them. Qiao Xian had even told them that she was going to offer a lot of chances for more money-making. So they were not going to earn her money and gossip about her at the same time. Xiao Dolly and his wife as well as the cousin's family were all on Qiao Xian's side. They were so used to the work and Qiao Xian continued to hire them. It was so much less painstaking. They were not outsiders. And how could hiring them be something that was not reasonable? Qiao Xian had a regular schedule of buying wood every evening, and those who wanted to sell would meet her at the determined site. When the B box that was booked before was delivered to them, she put the 30 boxes up in the predetermined place. After that, she went into the mountain with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao to find the honeycomb. Flowers and bees were not only for the honey. The most important part was that she was going to get bee wax, pomegranate flowers and rosebush to make lipsticks from those red flower juices and essential oils. Chapter 77 One step after another, she had already given advance to the carpenters to make the molds and porcelain tubes for lipsticks. She just needed the original materials to be put in. When the work at the land was finished, she was going to get the bee wax, and when the tubes and molds were completed, she could start her attempts to make those things. Lipsticks were attractive to most women, even in the modern time. She firmly believed that after she managed to make the lipsticks here, She was going to get a constant stream of money for herself. The blushers sold at the market were not at all convenient, and they dried easily. Moreover, the colors did not blend well. Lipsticks in tubes were always going to be more convenient, and would have better quality. Apart from lipsticks, she was going to extract oil for perfume as well. She had the superpower, and she could be quite sensitive about the smell and tastes. So, the whole process should be smooth enough for her. Well, she was a rural wife and she was not going to expose the plan to outsiders. She needed to make a good plan about it. When the lipsticks business kicked off, she was going to plant mushrooms to make medical herbs. She was going to take one step after another, and not rush into anything. Most importantly, she had to be in charge of everything. Xiao Xian turned down Xiao Yunduan's request to keep her company to find honeycombs in the mountains. Just study at home. It is not an easy matter to finish within a few days. Dad and Mom would blame me if you spend so much time with me. I have made so much effort just to please Mom. You know? Anyways, Qi and Tao Tao are fairly familiar with the mountains, and with them around, I won't miss a thing. Xiao Yunduan could not counter her. Since he had decided to be well prepared for the examination, he was going to earn a good rank, and for that, he needed to work hard. So he should not spend so much time with her in the mountains every day. But can you just not go into the mountains? Xiao Xian smiled. Only I know what to do about the honeycombs. Xiao Yunduan said. Where did you learn all of this? Xiao Xian chuckled. Maybe it is natural talent? I am interested in these and I pick up knowledge by reading. Her father's biggest function was to serve as the shield for her. She could just claim that whatever she was good at was learned from her father. Xiao Yunduan would never be able to prove otherwise. He was not going to do anything to prove that either. But what she had not expected was that when Xiao Yunduan heard what she said, he started to imagine a scene where he saw a skinny, poor girl who was left alone in the study and read lots of strange books. Xiao Yunduan could not rip her off from the hobby which she had been interested in since childhood. He nodded hesitantly. Just come back early, and don't go too deep into the mountains. Qi knows the mountains well. You should always ask him for directions. Watch out for the ground. It is so hot nowadays and there are bugs everywhere. Xiao Xian nodded with a smile. Xiao Yunduan was still not assured. He turned to Xiao Xiaoqi and asked Xiao Xiaoqi to take care of her. Xiao Xiaoqi said with a smile. Don't worry, fifth brother. I will definitely keep fifth sister-in-law safe and not lead her to the dangerous spots. Then the three of them went into the mountains. With the help of her superpower, Xiao Xian soon found the honeycomb. Then, she used the bee box to lead the bees to move in. Due to Xiao Xian's superpower, the bees were very willing to get close to her. They were not afraid of her, and the work was completed much more easily than she had anticipated. Chapter 78 Paid Work Apart from Honeycomb. Xiao Xian also harvested some wild honey as well as beeswax. She had a large woven twine bag with a custom-made flat and light wooden barrel that was just right for honey. Honey tasted sweet and smelled good. It was a precious delicacy for farmers. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao were very happy. They already had a deep fondness for the sweetness. But Xiao Xian did not allow them to eat too much, because that would ruin their appetite and they would get tired of it easily. She was going to take the honey back, then extract the essences, and store it in a jar for a long time. It would not go bad in this manner, and they could eat it for a very long time. Honey was a great thing. If it could be put on the meat while grilling and deep frying, the taste would be excellent in dishes like sweet and sour rib bones. The idea had a lot of appeal to Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao, who were drooling constantly. Xiao Xiaoqi had been to the mountains frequently, but he never dared to touch the honeycomb, nor had he ever gotten any honey. Xiao Xian was asked to teach him how to extract honey. Xiao Tao Tao was a bit worried about bees, but she was out there to give it a try. Xiao Xian taught them the tricks. She needed someone to look after her bee box, and they could be in charge of this task in the future, if they knew what to do. Anyways, she was going to pay them for it. Apart from seeking honeycombs and getting bees and honey, they spotted a few trees like wild-growing ordinary roses, gardenia, osmanthus, which they brought home on the way. It was never easy to fill up the 60 mu flower land. Especially with ordinary roses and pomegranates, which were the original ingredients for lipstick making. Whenever they found the ordinary roses, Xiao would drive away Xiaoqi and Xiao first, and use her superpower to make them grow first. After the whole day in the mountains, the three of them brought home 5 honeycombs, and got 2 barrels of honey as well as 2 bunches of ordinary roses along with some delicious mushrooms and 2 wild roosters which Xiaoqi managed to capture. They were carrying them with shoulder poles. They ran back and forth 3 times, and eventually got all their harvest home. When they finally entered, Xiao came to Xiao Yunduan and smiled. "I am back." These words suddenly made Xiao Yunduan feel assured. He almost felt a bit happy. He could not help but show a look of gentleness and said quietly, "Good that you are back. Did you run into any trouble?" "Of course not, all went well. We were really cautious." Xiao exchanged a few words with him, and went to sort out her harvest. Xiao Yunduan smiled, seeing her retreating figure. Then he went back to his studies. The moment they went home, they hid the honey in Xiao Taotao's room. They were never going to let the second and the third sections of the family know about the honey. They were so shameless. Second uncle and third uncle, who failed to take advantage of money from her as wages, asked Xiao Miling and Xiao Xiaoji to visit the first section every day during the lunchtime, because they knew that Xiao Dali was fed there. They were 2 young girls, and it was quite normal that they ate lunch at their uncle's home. So they were not driven away. Also, eldest uncle got happy when they kept calling him Uncle cutely. Ms. Fang rolled her eyes. The 2 girls had been taught in the wrong way. They were asked to take advantage of people, and were going to ruin themselves one day. They were going to suffer a lot in the future. Chapter 79. Anger vent. Sure enough, when the honey had just been hidden, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma arrived, together with Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Miling. Ms. Fang shared a rooster with them. Dalong and the other boys have worked very hard these days, and Yunduan has been devoted to studies and he needs to get supplements. You can share one. If you think it is too little, you don't get any. When they heard work, they glared at Xiao, but when Ms. Fang talked about Xiao Yunduan, the 2 aunts could not possibly say anything against that. They left with 1 rooster annoyedly. She gets back things even less than earlier. Yes, just 2 wild roosters in one day, not good enough to share. Ms. Fang snorted. She had an open mind and did not want to split hairs with these 2 annoying people. But after her 5th daughter-in-law came to their home, their family situation had been raised compared to before, which made Ms. Fang feel good. Ms. Fang said to Qiao, "Let me tell you, Ms. Qiao, Yang Liang asked someone to pass on the message that they want to see us tomorrow to talk about the wedding gifts. Damn Yang Liang, it serves him right. Your idea worked." Ms. Fang felt quite happy to have vented her anger. "Really?" Xiao got happy and said, "Then I will go with you tomorrow." Ms. Fang snorted. "Not tomorrow. We don't have to be in a hurry." She should not let that man get what he wanted so easily. Xiao smiled. "Mom, let's just go tomorrow morning. We should not split hairs with people like them. We are going to show our sincerity to the Yang family, right?" Ms. Fang came to her senses. "You are right, let's go tomorrow." She and Xiao had put on a show at the Yang family to display their sincerity. If they slowed down all of a sudden now, the efforts they made earlier would get wasted. Yang Liang passed on the message through a messenger, rather than come to the door personally, because he thought that they would not want to visit him out of anger. But they were not going to fall for the trick made by him. Xiao told Ms. Fang about honey, and Ms. Fang was both surprised and happy. She went into Xiao Taotao's room and had a look at it along with Xiao. She had a small taste of it and her eyes sparkled. "It is a rare thing. You are so lucky as to get so much honey without being stung." Some villagers were bitten all over their faces when they tried to get the honey, including your 3rd brother. You are so lucky. Pharmacies in the town would want to buy things like this, and the price is not low. When Xiao decided to keep the bees, she was going to extract a lot of honey, but she did not care about the honey, except, "When I purify the honey, I will keep it in the jar and sell it in the city." The honey that was newly harvested was full of small things, and it needed to be purified, so was beeswax. That was going to open a road for her in making a fortune. Ms. Fang did not know anything about her plans, so she nodded in agreement to whatever Qiao said. Her daughter-in-law was a noble-born lady, and had vast knowledge about everything. Hence, everything she said should be right. Since it was still early, Qiao went to help with some work in Xiao Taotao's room. The first section of the family was filled with people, and there would be more and more in the future. It wasn't always convenient to do something. Chapter 80 Your Abilities. Qiao was thinking about building a new house, and was going to make a plan for it. At least, she should have a yard belonging to herself. The rooms should be enough for her to use. Only in this way, she could close the door and stop outsiders from prying. She did not worry about her own family, but the issue was the second section of the family and the third section of the family. The following day after breakfast, Qiao kept Ms. Fang company on the trip to Yang Liang's home in the Yang village. After Yang Xiaoni made a fuss the other day, Ms. Tian got so annoyed that she had a huge fight with Yang Liang as well. She did not want to say anything, but waited until Yang Liang did something himself. Even if Yang Liang didn't cater to her satisfaction, she was going to get involved anyway. Yang Xiaoni came back home the following morning. Miss Tian could not help but glare at her, sneering. "You shameless bitch. Now you have humiliated both of us. You can just leave our home, if you are so brave. How dare you think about marrying someone good, ba?" Miss Tian did not stop nagging her, but Yang Xiaoni ignored her words. She made breakfast, and drank the porridge before going out with farming tools on her shoulders. It was much better to work outside than stay at home. What should we do about her marriage? Should we ask the Xiao family again? Yang Liang was feeling annoyed. Where else could he find someone better than the Xiao family? The Xiao family was the best choice so far. He could not get 100 liang, but 30 or 40 would be enough too. No, Ms. Tian simply did not want Yang Xiaoni to have a good life. Useless person, can't you think about any other method to deal with that bitch? Why must we stick to the Xiao family? Yang Liang was annoyed too. You can go and find one if you want to. Ms. Tian sneered. You pighead. Why can't you just find some rich landlord or a man who has lost their wives or something? They would offer a good price too. Yang Liang was startled and got angry with her. You want my sister to become a concubine, or the widower filler? Are you crazy? I am not crazy. Ms. Tian snapped as she shouted at him. She never feared him. Instead, she got even more intimidating as she spoke. Your sister? I don't think she regards you as a brother. Let me tell you. I am sure that when she marries the Xiao family, she will not even take a look at you. You know what Ms. Fang is like, right? If she is a widower filler, she can at least understand that she needs her natal family's help in the future. Also, what is so bad about being a concubine of a rich landlord? They have food and servants, and old men know how to take care of the young. She is always going to have a good life there. What is so bad about that? Yang Liang fell into silence. He said hesitantly, You said that if she marries the Xiao family, she will disown us. But I am her brother. Miss Tian sneered. If she treated you as her brother, she would not have reported anything to those elderly people in the family, and would not have humiliated you. Yang Liang was silent again. He thought for a while and understood that his sister was not very close to him. If she distanced herself from her natal side after she got married, that would not work. He was looking forward to getting help from her in-laws' family. Chapter 81 Taken advantage of. He had realized that they did not have a close relationship, and Ms. Fang was not very easy to deal with. Besides, Ms. Fang had a daughter-in-law who was the daughter of the county magistrate. By that time, the Yang family might not be able to take any advantage of the marital connection. Persuaded by his wife, Yang Liang decided to marry Yang Xiaoni off to a landlord as the concubine. But he had a very narrow network. When he eventually found one landlord who intended to get a concubine, he proposed 20 liang as dowry, and was beaten by the slave. The landlord got extremely annoyed. She was just a countryside girl, and the family needed 20 liang? That was crazy. The landlord was not going to be taken advantage of. 6 or 8 liang would be the maximum amount. Furious and annoyed, Yang Liang went to a widower. That turned out to be an even worse decision. Those widowers who would like to remarry were all poor. They could barely afford a wedding gift of 3 or 6 liang. The poor one waved away the proposal when he heard that the wedding gift should be at 20 liang. Everyone had difficulty in making money. 20 liang for one daughter-in-law? That was not worth the while. Half a kilo of rice was only 7 won. And a wedding gift at this large amount was just beyond the possibility. Even if the girl might be a fairy from heaven. Wives were married by men to spend their days with and give birth to babies. What did they need a fairy from heaven for? Yang Liang got so distressed after being turned down so many times. If they failed to find anyone else who would like to offer the wedding gift, the Xiao family would be the only choice left. Ms. Tian shouted at Yang Liang for being useless, and then she sneered. That goddamned girl is a part of our family. We are her brother and sister-in-law, acting like parents for her. I can marry her to anyone I want. No one has the right to get involved. Why must our business be in charge of anyone else? It is against the ethical standards. But Ms. Tian could do nothing except make some complaints at home. Since 3rd Grandma Yang had already made the announcement in public and the land officer, as well the chiefs all nodded in agreement. Despite her fierce temper, she knew pretty well that she could not make chiefs and land officers change their decision. If she dared to make any more complaints, 3rd Grandma Yang did have the right to trap her inside the ancestral hall, where she could be abused. What a nosy old woman. Yang Liang did not want to hear what Ms. Tian said anymore. He decided to go to Ms. Fang to pass on the message and talk about this matter. Annoyed, Ms. Tian thought for a while and said, I will pass on the message. It is not proper for a guy like you to do anything about it. Yang Liang, who had been humiliated to the bottom of a valley already, was glad that Ms. Tian could handle the matter instead of him. Ms. Tian did not go there personally. Instead, she paid a messenger 2 times to pass on the message, and stressed to him that he should treat the Xiao family badly. She was going to make sure that Ms. Fang got so annoyed that she would not want to visit them. In that way, she could tell others that the Xiao family did not want to marry young Xiaoni. And in this way, she could marry young Xiaoni to anyone she wanted. She hated the goddamned sister-in-law of hers, and she was not going to allow her to live happily. However, Qiao Xian came over with Ms. Fang. What she had not expected was that Qiao Xian and Ms. Fang did not come to her home at all, but went to 3rd Grandma Yang's home directly. When 3rd Grandma Yang sent someone to fetch Yang Liang and Ms. Tian, the couple was still wondering what was going on. Seeing Ms. Qiao and Ms. Fang, Ms. Tian's face changed and she screamed, What are you doing here? 3rd Grandma Yang got annoyed and she sneered. I am also involved with Xiaoni's marriage. Why can't they come to my place? Since we are all here, we can have a thorough discussion. Chapter 82. Ms. Tian sneer. 3rd Grandma Yang even brought 2 more grandmas as witnesses. Annoyed and unconvinced, Ms. Tian said, It is not proper for us to have the discussion at someone else's home, right? She is my sister-in-law. 3rd Grandma Yang ignored her and asked Yang Liang, Am I the senior family member of the family? Is it proper to have the discussion here at my home or not? Yang Liang dare not say anything against that. He mumbled incoherently and said nothing else. Ms. Fang sneered. This is a major matter of happiness. If we have senior family members as witnesses here, it is your good fortune. Yang Liang and Ms. Tian glared at everyone in fury, yet did not dare to say anything more. 3rd Grandma Yang smiled. I am an experienced person, and I should take good care of the junior family members in case they go on a twisted path. We are all a family, and are concerned about all members of the family. Ms. Tian sneered and cursed inwardly. Well, since the incident was mentioned, Yang Liang was forced to agree, but he said that the wedding gifts needed to be renegotiated. 20 liang is way too little. You are a rich family and you can't be compared with other families. She is my only sister, and I need to see if you are sincere enough. Okay, I don't need 80 or 100 liang, but we need at least 40 liang. 3rd Grandma Yang gasped. She had not fully believed that the Yang family would want 100 or 80 liang as Ms. Fang had put it earlier. She had thought that the latter was just exaggerating. But hearing what Yang Liang said, she realized that she should have believed Ms. Fang at the beginning. Ms. Fang sneered. I am sincere enough, so I offered 20 liang. Were you able to find anyone else who would like to offer 20 liang during this period? We are here today because we don't necessarily need your sister. If you don't accept 20 liang, then we will drop the matter. Ms. Tian added. Then we drop it. We don't care about your family. Our sister can always be married to anyone. I don't think that our sister would have a good time with your family, seeing how you are like right now. Yu Xiaoxian smiled. Then you can ask Ms. Yang if she is suffering with you or enjoying living with you. As for our family, we sister-in-laws respect our mother-in-law. What our mother-in-law is like is not to be determined by you. The whole family knows what she is like. You are just making yourself a laughingstock by claiming so. Ms. Tian forced a false smile. Oh well, we are not as good as you. No mother-in-law will have any courage to mistreat you. Qiao Xian said. It seems that this lady is just being tough. She doesn't seem to understand what others are talking about. I don't have anything to argue with you. You can do whatever that pleases you. It is all in your imagination. We have enough people to prove how we are. Third Grandma Yang snorted. Yang liang, 20 liang is enough, and you have to remember the condition of 1 month's time. Just think about this. If you do anything more pestering, we can all gather to teach you a lesson. We are a family with rules. Miss Tian knows nothing, but you should. 15 years ago, a horrible woman irritated her mother-in-law to death, so her sister-in-law killed herself in the river. Even though she had many children, she was still trapped in the ancestral hall for her entire life, and she became mental in the end. Third Grandma Yang glanced at Ms. Tian and said calmly, if our family can't even keep a horrible woman at bay, then no good girls would dare to join us. Gradually, our family would have no good offspring in the next generation. Chapter 83 Accident. Ms. Tian's face changed. She shivered and started to panic. Yang Liang did not counter the old woman, so the tale was real. She knew pretty well how she treated young Xiaoni. Now the bitch had decided to start a war with her, and even spent the night at Third Grandma Yang's home instead of her own house. The way she was behaving was so annoying. What if she caused a huge mess? Ms. Tian did get frightened hearing what Third Grandma Yang said to her. Third Grandma Yang felt slightly better and prouder, as she managed to talk down Ms. Tian. I think we can settle the arrangement here. 20 liang as the wedding gift. Yang Liang, anything you want to say? What? Okay, nothing to say. Third Grandma Yang said resolutely and settled the argument. Pick a date and exchange the engagement card. Ms. Tian, who was furious and jealous, found that she was losing. So she snapped. But I don't have any dowry to offer and we can't afford to host a banquet. Any family would turn around and walk away when they heard those words. But Ms. Fang did not really care about those things. Otherwise she would have died out of anger long ago because of what the third section of the family and the second section of the family did to her family. She could clearly see that Ms. Tian was evil, and she was doing all of this on purpose. So in order to win the argument, she was going to say yes to the marriage at any cost. Also, her useless son insisted on marrying young Xiaoni. So Ms. Fang nodded constantly. Okay, we just like Xiaoni and don't care about her dowry. Third Grandma Yang suddenly felt really jealous. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. How could her own daughter fail to have such good luck? Feeling even more furious, Ms. Tian said annoyedly, I don't have much food to give to someone else's daughter-in-law. Since the marriage is settled, you should take her away as soon as possible. That was exactly what Ms. Fang expected to hear. Okay then, after the Dragon Boat Festival in May, we will pick an auspicious date for the wedding. Ms. Tian sneered and added, you should not look down at us. You must hold one wedding on the same scale as the one you held for your fifth daughter-in-law. Ms. Tian. Third Grandma Yang sank her face. How dare you compare the village girl to the daughter of the county magistrate? What scale? If you ever cause trouble to the Yang family, we will all go down together. In other words, what she meant was that the county magistrate was not in the same category as these people, and if the county magistrate learned about the comparison, he might not be happy. The other elderly grandmas also had stern expressions on their faces, and snapped at Ms. Tian. Xiao sneered and threw a disdainful look at Ms. Tian, as if she were going to take revenge on her without warning. Ms. Tian turned slightly pale, and did not dare to say anything more. When this errand was settled, Ms. Qiao and Ms. Fang left together. Ms. Fang smiled at Xiao. You have helped us a lot. Xiao smiled. No worries, Mom, we are a family. You treat me so nicely and third brother has helped me a lot too. This is all I can do to repay you. Ms. Fang laughed. Oh my child. You are so adorable. It was Xiao's idea to come to third Grandma Yang's home for the settlement. She even had 2 bottles of honey and 1 patch of cotton cloth to offer. Those gifts delighted third Grandma Yang greatly, and she spared no efforts to defend them in every way possible. Chapter 84. Ms. Fang's concerned. That very afternoon, the matchmaker came over to exchange the engagement card. The date of May 20th was settled upon, and the whole thing was organized at a lightning speed. Xiao saw the date, and her lip corners could not help but twitch. 5:20, what a good date. Xiao Sanling laughed as if he had turned mental. He went to Ms. Fang and kept flattering her. Ms. Fang struck hard on his head and snapped. You useless man. Now you have realized your goal. But let me tell you right now, if your daughter-in-law doesn't respect me or disobey me openly and defends her family, I will not keep her here. If you dare to defend her in this way, you and I are no longer mother and son. As for whether or not Yang Xiaoni's brother and sister-in-law would continue to pester them after Yang Xiaoni was married, Ms. Fang wasn't that worried at all. They were just her brother and sister-in-law. No brother or sister-in-law of any family would get involved with their married sister, unless the married sister was taking her brother's side. Ms. Fang would not agree to hang out with those shameless people either. She was not going to allow them to take advantage of her family. Since they were just brother and sister-in-law, Ms. Fang agreed to the marriage because Yang Xiaoni was a good girl. Xiao Sanlang smiled and nodded constantly. He said in a flattering tone, Don't worry, Mom, I will respect you and father along with her. She hates her brother and sister-in-law too, so she is not going to take their side. Haha. Ms. Fang was amused. Seeing his mother smiling, Xiao Sanlang turned to Qiao. Thank you very much, fifth sister-in-law. Both of us owe you big. You can turn to me for help if you need anything in the future. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Qiao smiled. No worries, third brother, we are a family. Yes, we are a family. We will remember what you have done for us forever. Xiao Sanlang smiled and said, Oh yes, you don't have to pay me any salary. When Xiaoni is here, we will work for you together. Xiao laughed. Third brother, these are 2 different things. You are getting paid anyway. Otherwise elder brother and elder sister-in-law would be very embarrassed. Xiao Sanling was startled, wondering why. Ms. Fang glared at him, and explained things to make him understand what she meant. He smiled at Xiao and laughed even more awkwardly. Xiao Sanling got paid, but the money was given to Ms. Fang. He was getting married next month, and they needed to host a simple banquet, which might cost some money as well. Ms. Fang accepted the payment. When this matter was settled, Xiao, together with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, went up into the mountains and hunted honeycombs. Xiao Yunduan was not assured, so he followed them for a walk. Ms. Fang was worried about Xiao Sanlang's wedding. The bride had nothing to offer, and they had to prepare for everything. They needed the matchmaker, the happy litter, and the orchestras too. Moreover, they needed new blankets for the room, and the couple needed to have new clothes too. Then they also needed to provide small snacks for the guests too. Also, there would be at least one representative from each household of the village to attend either weddings or funerals, including children. But some close relatives, apart from the formally invited guests, would all be present too. Chapter 85. Money. There would be at least 20 tables at the wedding. The banquet might not be as luxurious as the one for Xiao Yenduan's wedding, yet 1 bowl of chicken and 1 bowl of meat would definitely have to be served. Yang Liang and his wife were annoying, but the bridegroom was her own son, and Yang Xiaoni was going to spend the rest of her life with him. Therefore, she could not make the wedding look too shabby, Otherwise young Xiaoni might not be so happy about this. Not now maybe, but most likely in the future. Ms. Fang did want the wedding to be the hidden bomb in the relationship between her son and daughter-in-law. So she decided to make it look good. But where was she going to get the money to pay for the bill? Before she went to bed at night, Ms. Fang sat in bed and did the calculation with elder uncle. They would need at least 2 liang for the wedding. The problem was that the wedding gift had already cost them everything and they did not have 2 liang at all. Duan has just got married and now it is our third son's turn. This is totally beyond anticipation. Only if he doesn't hold the wedding until 2 years later. But Ms. Qiao already offered us 10 liang for the wedding. Though she explained the reason to us, yet it is her kindness. We must not ask her for any more money for the wedding. We should not take money as loan from her either. Also, Ms. Qiao is not going to ask us to pay her back. That would be immoral on our part. Also, let me tell you, we can't even pay for Duan's examination next year. By that time, Ms. Qiao is going to pay for his fees, because it is her husband who is going to the examination. This is how our current situation is. What she meant was that they could not possibly ask Xiao Xian to loan them any more money for Xiao Sanlang's wedding this time. They could not just bully her just because she was rich. Eldest uncle also got annoyed. We can't even spare 2 liang. Ms. Fang sneered. You really have no idea what is going on. Eldest uncle looked dazed and could not utter a word. Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site. Thanks his 2 brothers kept borrowing money from him, and he was well aware of this. What about me asking my brothers about the money tomorrow? Ms. Fang sneered inwardly, but she agreed. That is good, you can try tomorrow, or we can also try to come up with some other ideas. Early next morning, elder uncle went to the 2nd section of the family and the 3rd section of the family for money. But the result was well on the predicted lines. Elder brother, we need your help all the time. Of course we don't have any spare money. We can definitely lend you some if we do have any in stock. We are family, aren't we? Brother, Luleng is studying right now and we are barely making ends meet. We need your help, rather than being able to help you. Why not ask Ms. Qiao? She has so much dowry. 2 liang is so small an amount for her. I don't think she even considers 2 liang as a big amount. Go and ask Ms. Qiao. She has wasted so much money on the lands and splurged so much. Won't she even want to offer any money for your real business? That is so rude of her. Eldest uncle felt so annoyed after speaking with his brothers. He could sense that they did have some savings, but maybe he had thought too much? As for Ms. Qiao, he really could not turn to Ms. Qiao for help. Eldest uncle felt extremely distressed. Chapter 86. Xiao Xian satisfied, he asked for a loan from other villagers, but met with the same result. For villagers, 2 liang was not a small amount, and it was very difficult to get. Eldest uncle was feeling very distressed. He turned to Ms. Fang. What about asking Ms. Qiao for help? Ms. Fang looked at him in silence. Then she said, that seems to be the only way to do it right now. But let me tell you, if we borrow the money, we have to return it to her. Also, Qi and Tao Tao are growing up and they are going to get married too. So, we need to prepare for that as well. They are your children, you have to take them into consideration first. From this moment on, we have no money for any other sections of the family. You can't even help your own children before you help others. Be sure your children don't blame you for that. Also, Duan needs money. He is studying. If he passes the examination and goes into the capital for further examinations, it would cost more. You can't possibly let Ms. Qiao offer the money to him, right? Otherwise, how would he stand with back straight in front of his wife? Junyan is intelligent too, and in a couple of years, he will probably go to school as well. What if he makes it through? Even if he can't pass any more examinations, it would be better to be able to read than know nothing. Eldest uncle felt head aching and could not help but feel guilty and bashful. He interrupted Ms. Fang impatiently. All right, I got it. I am, of course, going to consider my own children first. It is just, anyway, let's just do this. Ms. Fang snorted and felt slightly better. As long as her husband did not interrupt her, the 2nd and the 3rd sections of the family would never get even a penny from her. As for the other wild animals, well, she could just ignore that for the time being. Xiao Xian loaned them the 2 liang without any hesitation. Elder uncle was gratified, yet felt a bit guilty and embarrassed inwardly. In a couple of days, the field was filled with plants and flowers that were needed. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, there were large patches of wild roses and ordinary roses, small patches of pomegranates, gardenias, sweet-scented osmanthus, jasmines, lilies, cloves, and white orchids. All the flowers were growing well, especially the wild roses and ordinary roses. They were sprouting many small buds that were yet to bloom. The fences were all up, which were higher than 2 meters. Along the iron fence, there were wild roses, and one could not see anything from outside. When the door was chained, no one was able to walk in. 20 out of 30 honeycombs were filled with bees, who kept flying in and out every day. Xiao Xian was very satisfied looking at the scene. In a couple of more days, there would be 30 boxes of bees. One box of bees could help in extracting 2 or 3 times of honey and beeswax, which would be purified into at least 500 grams of pure honey. Therefore, there would be more than 15 to 20 kilograms of honey in 1 year. That was plenty for them under the circumstances. Mostly, they did not need so much anyway. Before she became powerful enough, she was not going to reveal this way of making money, and the lipsticks would not be produced at a large scale either. In order to keep everything a secret, she even had a hat on when she went to book the modes and tubes for lipsticks. She signed a non-disclosure contract with the craftsman, so that the move was not revealed. When all the boxes were done, Xiao Xian put away the beeswax carefully and decided to sell honey in the capital. Chapter 87 Anticipation. The wild bees did not produce much honey. Moreover, Xiao Xian did not work too hard on it, so in the end, she harvested more than 50 kilograms of wild honey and 9 kilograms of beeswax. Xiao Xian kept around 1.5 kilograms of honey and decided to sell the remaining 50 kilograms. 9 kg beeswax, plus the plant oil, almond oil as well as purified red-colored flower juice would make at least 2,350 lipsticks at least. How much did that mean? Xiao Xian looked as if she had already seen money coming her way. With this amount of money, she was going to buy more land and open stores. In the beginning, she would do everything in secret. She did not intend to show up as the owner. She could not let Madame Qiao learn about this. When she became powerful enough that she went beyond Madame Qiao's influence, she would establish business relationships with some big businessmen with strong backgrounds. In this way, she would have nothing to fear in the future. Most importantly, it would be great if Xiao Yunduan could make it to advanced scholar level. If he cleared it, she would be protected as well. By that time, even her bad father would not dare do a thing to her, let alone Madame Qiao. Advanced scholar was different from cultivated talent. He could replace the official position of a minor county magistrate. With some relationships and achievements, he could even be the head of a county. So, even if her father wanted to do something about him, he could not possibly win by using small tricks. He would need to report him to the government office where the head supervised the whole case. Xiao Xian believed that Madame Qiao would try and do some tricks, but her father would not. What if her father's bad deeds were revealed? It would be the end of his career. He was not stupid enough to do something detrimental to himself. In his eyes, Xiao Yunduan was his son-in-law, and when Xiao Yunduan became successful, he had to pay respect to him. Otherwise his name would be ruined and Xiao Yunduan would not help him in the future. In fact, if Xiao Yunduan became successful, he would get extra help with relationships in the office, and that would make him really happy. Hence, he would not allow Madame Qiao to play any tricks. Therefore, as long as Xiao Yunduan made it to advanced scholar, it would be the starting of his flourishing career. That made Xiao Xian feel really excited. 50 kilograms of honey filled up 3 large porcelain jars. Everyone was so happy. It would earn them a lot of money. So on this day, when Xiao Yunduan was going to the school in the capital, they rented a bullock cart, and everyone went there together. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, as well as Ms. Fang tagged along. Ms. Fang had another purpose, that of buying some things needed for Xiao Sanlang's wedding. Honey was going to be sold to the pharmacies. Many side materials used at the pharmacy needed honey. Moreover, some precious materials would be soaked in wild, authentic honey so as to be preserved well. For example, ginseng, the best fresh wild ginseng, was sliced and cut into sections, soaked in pure wild honey and sealed, so that it could be stored for 70 or 80 years without any loss of efficacy. Xian went to one of the 2 big pharmacies in the capital with her family, and the manager showed them to the backyard. He tasted the honey and was shocked. How did you get so much honey? Wild honeycombs were very difficult to find. Their clinic needed wild honey throughout the year. And in late spring and summer, they would hire specialists to seek honey in the mountains. Normally, they would at most get 100 to 150 kilograms. Sometimes they would get even less than 100 kilograms. Xian smiled. Just good luck. Manager, are you buying the honey? If not, we will sell it somewhere else. Manager smiled, as he saw the beautiful married woman in front of him. It is a long way for you to come to this place. We will take it. Chapter 88. Fifth sister-in-law. Those words might have made others feel anxious, but Xian rolled her eyes inside her head and said straightforwardly, Manager, you don't have to force yourself into doing any business. If you don't want to buy it, just say it directly. Manager, Xiaoni added, seeing her handle everything calmly and with composure. True. Manager, if you really want to buy the honey, please name a price. Xian said with a smile, looking quite indifferent. Wild honey is a great thing. Even if we fail to sell it, we can still keep it for ourselves. Honey can be preserved for a long time, and it won't go bad even after years. We can eat it slowly, or give it away as a gift. It will always come into use. I hear that wild honey with water can help extend lifespan. Ms. Fang's eyes widened. That is great. Xian smiled. That is really good, Mom. Manager's mouth twitched. He could not help but feel really concerned for this precious honey. They were ruining this wonderful treasure. He was a sly businessman, and after some testing, he realized that this young couple wasn't so easy to be coaxed. In that case, he decided not to bargain. Manager said with a smile. Your honey is really pure and wonderful, but it is too mixed. So I will buy it at 71 for 500 grams. What do you think? Ms. Fang's legs collapsed, as she felt dizzy in head. She asked in a shivering tone. How much? Xiao Taotao helped her up and her eyes were also widened. Xiao Xiaoqi was dumbfounded too. Honey was so valuable? Fifth sister-in-law was excellent. Her things earned more than his hunt. Manager smiled. 71 ms, that is a very reasonable price. Ms. Fang could not say a thing. She was not trying to raise the price. Xian and Xiaoyunduan exchanged a look and Xiaoyunduan nodded. Okay, deal. After weighing, the honey measured up to almost 50 kilograms apart from the porcelain jar. Manager gave them 7 liang, and Xian generously gave away the 3 porcelain jars to the manager, who smiled and thanked the young lady. He even told her to bring it again, if they have any more in the future. When they left the clinic, Ms. Fang was still feeling dazed. 7 liang. They had just earned 7 liang at one go. Ms. Fang stared at Xian transfixed and mumbled inside her heart. She is our lucky star, indeed a lucky star. After her 5th daughter-in-law came to their home, they were living a better life than before. They had not only dealt with the 2nd and the 3rd section of the family, but also accomplished 3rd son's marriage. They were having a good time. They even had a spring at home. Her 5th daughter-in-law was just too fortunate. Mom, I will give 5 liang to you, and the remaining will be divided between me, Qi and Taotao. I will take 5 liang and you both will get 1 liang each respectively. Does that sound okay? Xian was not going to take advantage of them. It was true that she had done most in getting the honey, and it was reasonable that she should get a little more from the portion that was distributed after giving the family share. There would be a lot of occasions when they would make money. If they did not set a rule for profit sharing, conflicts would definitely arise in the future. By that time, they might even lose their friendly relationship. Ms. Fang was still feeling blank inside her head when she took over the money. Neither Qi nor Taotao was satisfied by how the amount was divided. Chapter 89. With fifth sister-in-law. The brother and sister nodded and shook their heads dazedly. Fifth sister-in-law, that is too much. We did nothing much, please just give half of that amount. Yes, yes. Ms. Fang also brought herself back and said with a smile, Miss Qiao, we got this because of you. They can just take 1 liang in total. In the past, before her daughter-in-law was married to their family, no one had sold honey for so much money. They managed to earn this much because of what her fifth daughter-in-law did for them. Now they would be able to host a good wedding for her third son. Ms. Fang felt really relieved when she received so much money suddenly. Xiaoxian did not change her mind. Qi and Taotao thanked her and looked at their fifth sister-in-law in admiration. They were definitely going to hang out with fifth sister-in-law more in the future. Xiaoxian added, Mom, put away the money. We may use it at some point in time, and keep it a secret. Ms. Fang realized what she meant. She looked at her 2 sons and her daughter. True, you must keep these earnings a secret, and not reveal it to anyone else, not even to your father. Money was always going to be useful, and she needed to save some. Qi and Taotao nodded in agreement. So did Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan was heading to the school, whilst Xiao Xian and Ms. Qiao were going to do some more shopping, so they waved goodbye at an intersection. Xiao Yunduan whispered to Xiao Xian, If you ever run into someone from the Qiao family, just avoid them. If Madame Qiao knew that Xiao Xian was in town, she was not going to let go of the opportunity to humiliate her. Xiao Xian felt her heart turn warm, as she smiled. I will. And I will take care of Mom and our brother and sister. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Thanks. Ms. Fang pretended not to notice that her son and daughter-in-law were whispering with each other. She smiled brightly. The 2 of them are so sweet together. Xiao Xian had intended to stay away from the Qiao family, so after she left Xiao Yunduan, she grabbed a towel to cover herself. Ms. Fang was very satisfied seeing how her daughter-in-law behaved. She thought that Xiao Xian had covered herself up because she did not want anyone else to stare at her beautiful face. Ms. Fang told Xiao Xian that she was not going to return the 2 liang to her. She said, We must let your father-in-law know that we owe you 2 liang. If you need money at any point, come to me in private. Xiao Xian had never intended to ask Ms. Fang to return the 2 liang, but if there was a proposal like this, she would not turn it down. She smiled and nodded in an understanding way. That made Ms. Fang feel even more gratified. Ms. Su would not have said yes to such a proposal ever. Soon they were done shopping. Xiao Xian weighed 1 kilogram of snacks, some dried chilies, star anise, fennel and other seasonings, before heading ahead to buy the meat. Xiao Xian bought a large piece of lamb chops. She wanted to go back and make pan-fried lamb chops. After adding some honey on top of it, the dish would smell delicious. She bought 1 more hoof and a large piece of pork belly. The hoof could be stewed with turnips, and half of it would be fried to make a dish with a sweet and sour flavor. The other half would be served with chopped chives, and the taste would be really beyond anticipation. The pork belly would be added with soy sauce, honey and then fried to make barbecue pork. May was around the corner, and the day was getting warmer. The meat could not be preserved for long. If it was made into barbecue pork, it could be kept for 2 more days. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao offered to pay for the meat. They could not possibly ask Xiao Xian to pay for everything. I was thinking about buying some meat and having fifth sister-in-law cook it for us. We can't let you pay for it and cook at the same time. Chapter 90 Background. Yes, we have money now. The 4 of them laughed. It cost just 10 won for 500 grams, and they only paid 200 won for so much meat. Xiao Xian decided not to argue with them anymore, so she smiled. Then, I can treat you to a bowl of noodles each, let's go. A bowl of noodles consisted of green onions, pickled vegetables, beans and a spoonful of bone soup added on top. It only cost 3 won. 1 egg could be sold at 1 won, and villagers were not really happy to spend money upon buying 1 bowl of noodles normally. But they felt that they had made a fortune today, so they all agreed, and went to eat noodles together. When they were done eating, they went to fetch the bullock cart, and guarded their stuff for a while, whilst Xiao Xian went to buy some garments and needles at the garment store. The garments would be used to make the sole and the top of the shoes. Summer was coming soon, and there were many kinds of beautiful garments in the store. Xiaoxian picked some, and decided to make 3 sets for herself and Xiao Yunduan, 2 for her in-laws, and 1 each for the others, respectively. She even counted Yang Xiaoni in. She also needed some underwear for the hot days. So she bought some thin white cotton garment and decided to make 2 sets for herself, and Xiao Yunduan as well as Xiao Taotao. Girls from the countryside would normally make garments for themselves, so they knew about each other's sizes. Xiao Xian asked Xiao Taotao to tell her the sizes, and gave the order to the garment store, telling them that she would fetch the clothes in a couple of days. Xiao Taotao was really worried about splurging so much money, but Xiao Xian smiled and whispered, "We should not waste our time upon making clothes. We have to earn money during that time instead." Xiao Taotao fell silent. The manager of the store saw how generous Xiao Xian was, and everyone laughed. They treated them nicely, and decided to give the cotton garments to them for free, and gave some other beautiful garments as gifts too. That made Xiao Taotao really happy. She was definitely going to make a beautiful pair of new shoes for her beloved 5th sister-in-law. As they left the garment store, they went around and saw a person selling small geese. There were 9 of them, bigger than a fist. They had long necks, and their eyes looked like black beans, lovely and cute. Xiao Xian bought all of them. There were many chickens at home, but no ducks. Xiao Xian had asked her mother-in-law about the reason, and her mother-in-law said that it was because ducks ate too much. Keeping them was not worth the while. Xiao Xian dropped the idea of keeping ducks. They could wait until they had more money in the future. But geese were different. They only fed on grass and little grains. The family could stew the geese and eat geese eggs as well. Ms. Fang saw the geese and said nothing, since she knew that they only fed on grass. She was glad to. Xiao Yunduan returned at 4 in the afternoon, and they all went back to the village together. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma did not show up this time unexpectedly. Xiao Taotao could not help but mumble out of curiosity. Ms. Fang sneered. "They knew that we were going into the village to buy things for your brother's wedding, and they did not want to be here in case we would ask them for money. They groaned so terribly about their poor situation. But that worked only on her husband, not her. She knew them pretty well. They were afraid of being blamed by her." Xiao Xian laughed. "You have seen them through, Mom." Ms. Fang was proud and replied with a smirk. "I have." Chapter 91. Eldest uncle stuck good that they were not here. Xiao Xian took a rest, and after a while started to work in the kitchen. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao helped alongside. Ms. Su was very happy to see Xiao Xian making some snacks for her children. She offered to help too, but Xiao Xian told her to leave. During dinner, dishes including pan-fried lamb chops, stewed radish soup, pan-fried sweet and sour hoof, stir-fried yam slices, stir-fried lettuce, and cold spinach were served. The view made people drool. The barbecue pork was made as well, but it was stored in the kitchen for the next night. When elder uncle saw the table full of meat, he could not help but gasp. Before he could say anything, Xiao Xian smiled. "Don't worry, father. All this was bought with my dowry, not with the shared money. My husband has been studying hard, and our brothers and sisters-in-law are working hard too. We should eat something good." Eldest uncle was stuck with words and said nothing more. He owed 2 liang to his daughter-in-law, and could not possibly ask her to share the food with the other sections of the family. Eldest uncle answered briefly and said, "But this is too much for us." He meant that they could give the rest to the 2nd and the 3rd sections of the family, because their children were starving too. Xiao Sanlang pursed his lips. "We are all grown-ups. Of course we will be able to finish it all. Dad, the dishes taste great. I will make sure I finish them all." Xiao Xian chuckled. Seeing that Xiao Xian had not yet realized what he meant, eldest uncle snapped at his son and said, "You only know how to eat. You are getting married soon." Ms. Fang rolled her eyes. "Just sit down and eat." Eldest uncle fell silent. The lamb chops tasted crisp on the top, and the hoofs were not tough to chew. A bite of both of them tasted great. They were soft, sweet, and sour at the same time, with a really fragrant taste of the broth. The wok dishes and cold-served spinach were good for appetite. After the whole family was full, they spoke highly of the dishes and did not spare even the broth. Xiao Sanlang looked at elder uncle, as he poured the broth over the rice. Dad, look, I knew I could finish it. Eldest uncle responded in a dark manner. Just shut up. Xiaoxian tried to hold down her laughter. Back in the bedroom, Xiaoyunduan said to Qiao. After the Dragon Boat Festival, we will have a competition with dragon boats. The teachers of the school asked me to join. Do you want to watch the game? Xiaoxian's eyes brightened. Is it fun? Xiaoyunduan felt slightly delighted. He knew that it would be interesting for her. He nodded. Yes, and it is going to be festive. Okay. Xiaoxian smiled. I will be there. She had never seen such a show before, and would definitely like to watch it. Moreover, she could make a thorough observation of the local area. Xiaoyunduan smiled. Okay, it is settled then. Yes. Following day, Xiaoxian thought of the batch of watermelon seeds. She struck her head. She should not have forgotten about this. She will take Qi and Tao Tao to the mountain, and bring some watermelon seeds to the yard. There were many watermelon seeds there, and with the help of her superpower, she was going to make the fruits grow fantastically in her field. The watermelons would grow to be numerous, large in size, round and sweet too. Chapter 92. Fifth sister-in-law. Watermelons were not commonly seen things. According to the original host's memory, they only got 2 watermelons at home once, and her parents regarded them as treasure. Of course, those precious fruits were eaten by her parents, and the original host did not have the qualification of eating it. But this time, she was going to eat everything. The 3 of them trekked up to Wangqing Mountains, and then Xiaoxian accidentally found the wild watermelon seeds. The seeds were already budding, and there were many veins everywhere, tangled and spread over the ground. They could tell that when the watermelons grow well, there would be many animals and birds flying all over. Xiaoxian said to Xiaoxiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, "This is a very good thing. We can go back and plant some in the yard. They are called watermelons, round, red and sweet. We can even sell them in the town. I am sure that everyone will buy it." Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were not completely convinced by her words, but they were glad to hear that these seeds could be worth the while. That is great. Fifth sister-in-law knows everything and we can earn money again. Let's dig out the seeds. The 3 of them worked together. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were very proficient in it. It was a simple task, and Xiaoxian helped too. Soon they got enough seeds within 2 hours. Xiaoxian left some for the animals in the mountains. Surprisingly, they saw 2 mulberry trees next to the watermelon field. It was a season when mulberry grew well, and many of the fruits had already shown up. Birds loved the fruits, and there were only a few remaining on the trees. Xiaoxian's eyes brightened, and she said that those fruits could be eaten as well. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao trusted her completely. They picked the ugly-looking fruits and put them in their mouths. Instantly their eyes brightened too. These are so sweet. So tasty. Xiaoxian smiled. See, I was not lying to you, right? When the mulberries were picked, Xiaoxian decided to bring some back home too. She could duplicate the trees. Hence, they will receive many fruits next year. Moreover, the extra mulberries could be used to make liquor. The seeds were all gathered, tied up into several bunches, and put into the basket. Since they were going to plant the seeds, they decided to go back earlier. They spent 2 more hours in the mountains, where Xiao Xiaoqi caught 1 rooster, and then they went to Rabbit Hill together. We can hunt 2 rabbits today and there is no need for more. I can just come here whenever you want to eat it. Xiaoxian smiled. Qi, you should never come here alone. It is dangerous here. I need to be here with you, understand? Xiaoxian was not bragging. There were dangerous zones in Wangqing Mountains as well. The reason why they never ran into danger was because Xiaoxian could scan over the place and help them avoid the dangerous zones within their nearby range. That is how they managed to escape from the beasts-infested areas in the past. What Xiaoxian did not know was that Xiao Xiaoqi was more capable than he displayed in front of others. He could escape even if he ran into wild boars or tigers. Chapter 93. Fifth sister-in-law. So good. Moreover, After 3 years' time, they could even fight for it. Hearing what Xiao Xian said, Xiaoqi felt very moved. He nodded and answered, I got it, fifth sister-in-law. Fifth sister-in-law was so concerned about him. She was really nice. But you have to remember not to lie to me. Of course, fifth sister-in-law. The rabbit nest was full of fat and large wild rabbits, 3 of which became Xiao Zioqi's catch. Xiao Taotao brought them home. The 3 of them walked for some time before Xiao Xian found the fig trees. The trees looked quite like wild-growing trees, but with a special smell. Surprised, she decided to take them home, but the decision startled Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao. The 2 of them tried to stop her. Fifth sister-in-law, we must not take these home. They smell terrible. Xiao Xian pointed at the finger-sized green fruits with a smile. The smelly tree you know of is different from this one. That tree doesn't grow fruits, but look at this tree. It has figs which taste good when they ripen. More importantly, the trees were much easier to grow, better than mulberry trees. Even one twig could make it grow wildly. Also, the figs tasted good but could not be transported easily, so they were often dried. Even in the modern time, no fresh figs could be found in the fruit stores that were away from the place where figs were grown. If some fresh figs were transported before they turned ripe, the taste would be much worse. The real, mature figs had a great taste. Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao took a closer look at it and admired the fruit. They are different. Fifth sister-in-law, you are so clever. You know everything. Yes, we were wrong. Fifth sister-in-law, how does fig grow? Does it bloom? Xiao Xian smiled. Yes, it blooms, except that the flowers are too small to be seen. Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao came to a realization and helped Xiao Xian to dig the tree. The 3 of them returned home and ran into Ms. Niu, who was wandering about with her grandson in her arms, just as they were about to enter the village. Ms. Niu, who saw them carrying baskets and bags, had her eyes wide and bright. Hey, what all have you got? Ms. Niu tried to dig out what was inside their basket. She saw some mushrooms and melon veins on top. Wild roosters and rabbits were in the bag in Xiao Taotao's hand, whilst Xiao Xian was carrying 2 wrist-thick fig trees under her arms. The 3 of them felt speechless as they saw Ms. Niu's behavior. Xiaoqi dodged her. Hey, second aunt-in-law. Ms. Niu pursed her lips. What are those seeds for? Why are you carrying them home? For food. Xiao Xian smiled and bragged. The seeds look very fresh, they should taste good. There were all kinds of wild plants in the mountains during this time of the year, and in this era. So Xiao Xian loved to bring a lot home every time she went into the mountains. Ms. Niu heard of this before, so she did not suspect Xiao Xian's words. She lost her interest instantly and rolled her eyes, complaining. She who is born nobly has no idea what is worth the while and what is not. Ms. Niu cribbed inwardly yet said, So wild roosters and rabbits are in this bag, aren't they? You can hunt more wild animals for us. Look at my grandson, he has lost so much weight. Xiao Xian blinked. But you have so many roosters at home. You can feed them to your grandson too, right? Chapter 94 Teasing Ms. Niu, what are you talking about? Ms. Niu glared at her. Those hens are for eggs, we can't kill them to eat. We are not wasting food at home. Xiao Xian snorted. But Qi of our family is young, and he needs rest. He gets tired too. Our parents feel sorry for him, so do we as brother and sister-in-law. Xiaoqi added. Yes, my legs feel languished after a full day's running. It takes me several days before I am able to completely relax. The 3 of them laughed. They were obviously teasing Ms. Niu. Annoyed, Ms. Niu shot back. You are countering the senior member of the family. Xiao Xian's face sank, as she said coldly, Second aunt-in-law, should we try to seek justice with our parents? You are setting us up. Whenever Qi returns with wild animals, you always speak ill about him when you don't get anything from him. Also me and Taotao. Have we ever offended you, second aunt-in-law? Ms. Niu felt even more angry. Xiao Taotao had never offended her, and they had taken many things from what Xiaoqi had hunted, so she should not be blamed. Ms. Niu felt very annoyed by Xiao Xian. Whilst she could not utter a single word of complaint, Xiao Xian was too treacherous. Ms. Niu mumbled in anger. I am just saying. What are you being so serious about? I am a senior member and I can, of course, discipline you a little. Qiao Xian immediately reacted. You, as the senior member, can definitely discipline us if we make any mistakes. But you are ruining our reputation for no reason. Why can't we be upset? Our reputation is important, and it can't be taken as a joke all the time. You can't be deliberately doing it, can you? Will you be happy if my mom keeps ruining Miling's reputation? They have done nothing wrong. Why must they be talked about? Then what have we done, second aunt-in-law? Ms. Niu became so furious that she shivered. Goddamned Ms. Qiao, she was awful. Qiao Xian's eyes looked cold. Second aunt-in-law, you have to remember not to spread rumors about others. Don't ever forget that you have your own children and grandchildren too. If you offend us severely one day, I am not sure what I will do for real. She was the daughter of the county magistrate, and if she made such a claim, there would be many people who believed her. Standing right on the spot, Ms. Niu spat seeing them leaving. Ms. Qiao, you goddamned woman. Qiao Xian reached home and dropped 1 rooster and 2 wild rabbits. Then she took the mushrooms for drying. She shared the mulberries wrapped in a broad leaf, for everyone to eat. Ms. Fang tried a few and said that they were tasty. Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing felt the same. Ms. Fang smiled more brightly when she heard that it was Qiao Xian's achievement. She said, your 5th sister-in-law is a very intelligent person and has knowledge about everything. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded in agreement. Qiao Xian still felt a bit shy hearing the compliments. She flushed and ran away with mulberries in her hands, saying that she was going to share them with Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan had become even more devoted to studies after being humiliated at the Qiao family. He had sworn that he was going to make it to the next level, so he spent the whole day studying and writing articles. Qiao Xian pushed the door and walked in, yet he did not even realize it. Qiao Xian did not disturb him either. She closed the door slightly and stood next to him, watching him quietly. The man did not notice her, and she sized him up straightforwardly. The way her husband wrote made him look very attractive. Chapter 95. Good idea. The man had a slender body shape and good physical proportions. When he was seated at the table, he looked concentrated and careful. He was calm as he wrote the characters, and the straight-back manner in which he was sitting made him look graceful and unworldly. He, who had been reading books since a young age, looked no longer like a villager. Qiao Xian subconsciously believed that he was going to become someone more than a minor cultivated talent. She believed that he was going to have a promising future. Maybe one day he was going to press down her parents, like a gigantic tree. Qiao Xian was dreaming when Xiao Yunduan suddenly looked up and met her eyes. Both of them were startled. Xiao Yunduan was taken aback at first. Then his eyes were on her for a long while. Caught red-handed, Qiao Xian realized that she had been looking at him in a straightforward way, and it was very embarrassing when she was caught. Oh well. I have picked many mulberries, and they are really sweet. Want to have a try? Qiao Xian smiled as she showed the mulberry wrapped in the large leaf, pretending that she was not embarrassed. She could just leave if Xiao Yunduan shook his head. But Xiao Yunduan nodded. Oh really? Let me taste it. Qiao Xian. Failing in her plan, Qiao Xian had no choice but to step forward. She put down the mulberries in front of him, smiling. They are very sweet. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at her, and put a black, ripe mulberry into his mouth. He bit it open and the sweet juice went across his teeth. He smiled. It is definitely very sweet. I was telling the truth, right? Qiao Xian calmed down, seeing his relaxed state. She added with a smile. The mulberries look ugly but they taste great. Yes. Xiao Yunduan chuckled. You are right. Oh, you can just take your time eating them. I will go and deal with the melon veins, planting melons, I mean. Xiao Yunduan stood up. I can help you. I will eat the mulberries later. Qiao Xian blinked and was about to say something, when Xiao Yunduan smiled. I have been studying for half a day, and I need to stretch myself. Qiao Xian laughed. It was coincidental, and had already happened numerous times. So she did not turn him down but said, Okay then, let's go. Xiao Yinduan nodded and left with her. Ms. Niu, who had been so annoyed when countered by Qiao Xian, came to the first section of the family with her grandson, out of curiosity. Seeing Ms. Fang and Ms. Su drying the mushrooms, Ms. Niu could not help but speak up. Can the mushrooms be eaten? You will get poisoned. Ms. Fang snorted. None of your business. Ms. Niu persisted and said, honestly, elder sister-in-law, why don't you tell your daughter-in-law not to go into the mountains for useless work? She always brings back wasteful stuff, so she gets no time to hunt. If Xiaoxiaoqi could spend more time hunting for roosters and rabbits, then they could be shared with her family. Ms. Fang laughed out of anger. I don't care what my daughter-in-law is doing. What is your position in talking about her? If you want more wild animals, you can go and hunt them yourself. Chapter 96 Bad Daughter-in-Law. Ms. Niu added to her list of complaints. It is Qi who is stingy. He is hiding his skill. If he had taught Erlang and Silag how to hunt in the mountains, everything would be great. Ms. Fang's face sank. Ms. Niu, you can discuss with Mr. Zhao about this, but shut your mouth in front of me. Mr. Zhao only recognized Qi as a talent, and only offered to teach his skills to Qi. At that time, when they saw Qi gaining a lot of things every time he came back from the mountains with Mr. Zhao, they were eager to do the same. The second section of the family only had one son, who was studying and did not want to do this kind of work. But third uncle offered to learn the skills himself, and Erlang as well as Silang from the second section of the family chipped in as well. But Mr. Zhao did not think that they were talented enough, so he turned them down straightforwardly. Second uncle and third uncle got so annoyed that they kept causing trouble in front of the first section of the family, and making complaints about Mr. Zhao, seeing that he was alone in the village. They were unconvinced about his decision. Xiaoxiaoqi was so young. What could he do? Why did Mr. Zhao accept only him as the disciple? Was he saying that they were worse than a pint-sized boy? However, though Mr. Zhao was no longer as popular and influential as before, he was still capable of disciplining a couple of villagers. So, he taught both of them a lesson quietly, before they decided to give up. Mr. Zhao was a very skilled man, who knew that he could not face the world like before, but he did not want to die without sharing his skills. Hence, when he spotted a talented boy like Qi, he thought about imparting his knowledge to the boy. He taught Xiaoxiaoqi how to do martial arts, which was much more difficult and powerful than hunting. But he did not allow him to reveal to anyone that he knew martial arts. That second uncle and third uncle were disciplined by him was known only to the two of them. They were so scared that they did not dare do anything. Neither Ms. Niu nor Ms. Ma ever understood why their husbands gave up. That was why Ms. Niu remained unconvinced about the matter, and started to crib about it again. She became rather irritated when she heard what Ms. Fang said. She was about to counter her when she saw Qiao Xian and Xiao Yinduan coming. She closed her mouth instantly, snorted and left with one rabbit in her hand. Miss Qiao was not a good daughter-in-law. She was going to defend her mother-in-law and fight her. It was not worth the while for her to stay and listen to her speech. It was her own fault that she did not have a powerful daughter-in-law. Her daughter-in-law only knew how to take things from her home to her mother's family. What a horrible comparison. Ms. Fang was asked by Qiao Xian to plant melons in the yard. Hence they all went to do the work together. Ms. Fang was glad to hear that she had got watermelon veins. She knew what winter melons were, but not watermelons. Hearing the explanation from her daughter-in-law, she realized that it must be a sweet kind of melon that could be eaten without being cooked. She looked at her daughter-in-law and felt that she was going to make a large amount of money again, which made her feel really happy. So, she asked Xiao Taotao and Ms. Su not to reveal a thing to anyone else in the family. Qiao Xian arranged it so that the melon was put next to the grapevine. It was a very broad place, and with her superpower, she was going to make sure the melons would grow well. Xiaoxiaoqi, Xiao Taotao and Ms. Xihua offered help too. Fifth sister-in-law, what should we do with the veins? Ms. Su was very satisfied with Qiao Xian. She was more than willing to help with labor and laundry as well. Chapter 97. Glad after all, Xiaoxian had pitched in a lot towards the shared properties, and they had taken great advantage of it. Also, Xiaoxian was generous enough to offer Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing mini snacks, and she even told them not to let their father-in-law know in case he would ask them to share those with the second and the third section of the family. Ms. Su was very grateful to Xiaoxian. Xiaoxian said with a smile, "There are no rules, but start planting from this spot, and don't put them too close to each other. Veins won't grow properly then." They did not need to put them too neatly. Also, she was not very good at planting herself. Ms. Su and the others were a bit surprised. Ms. Su could not help but say, "But isn't that too casual? We need to have rules for planting crops. This is just too." "Elder sister-in-law, just do as she says, it will be fine," Xiao Yinduan said. It was her yard and she could do whatever she wanted and however she wanted, as long as she was happy. Ms. Su was about to say something, but eventually let out a small okay. Her sister-in-law was too relaxed in crop planting, so was her brother-in-law who just let her do whatever she wanted. Xiaoxian smiled at Xiao Yunduan and said, "Let's start it now." Okay. The planting went on fast with some earth digging, some seed burying, some earth covering and some watering. That was it. Soon the land was filled with casually planted melon seeds. But the seeds looked withered, and were displayed in an unruly manner. They looked so sad. Ms. Su could not help but shake her head. Can they really grow? She was really doubtful. Ms. Su could not help but feel a little speechless seeing Xiaoxian smiling at those withering seeds. Anyway, as long as it pleased her. Ms. Su was not aware that she had subconsciously started to think differently from before. When the melons were put down, they all walked out of the yard. Xiao Yunduan glanced at the fruit trees and grapes in the yard, saying with a smile, "Those trees are growing well." That surprised him as well. Xiao Xiaoqi smiled. "True, look at the persimmons, peaches and pears. They are all lush, and the fruits will be available in a couple of months. And bayberries too." Xiao Taotao could not help but drool at the thought. They are turning red. True. Xiao Xian chuckled. Yes, I know I have spotted the right place. We will have endless fruits to eat. Early next morning, Xiao Xian paid a visit to the flower field at the entrance of the village. Everything was growing well. After the Dragon Boat Festival, pomegranate flowers, Chinese roses, and ordinary roses would all start to bloom in large proportions. At that time, the petals would be picked and smashed to extract the flower juice. Then some almonds would be bought, almond oil would be abstracted, and beeswax would be mixed in it for making lipstick. She could see that she had more than 2,000 lipsticks in hand. Soon, she was going to become a very rich woman. Satisfied, Xiao Xian put in more superpower into the field, so that the flowers grew faster, stems became stronger and leaves flourished. The twigs needed to grow faster and higher, whilst the blooms should ripen early and become bigger. Xiao Xian did not stop sending in the superpower until a while later. All the flowers were growing well, and when they grew so well, no one would notice the real reason for it, which made the process reasonable. That was why she had fenced the field. She did not want the outsiders to learn the truth. She was waiting for a contrast. Chapter 98. New changes in space. Xiao Xian was still headed into the mountains with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao. It was the time when mushrooms were growing fastest and wildly. They had sun-dried mini mushrooms, which could be stewed or fried with meat, leading to the making of a delicacy. Also, Xiao Xian suggested selling dried mushrooms in the market, and Ms. Fang did not object to that proposal. Xiao Xian suggested that she could get more mushrooms when the mushrooms were growing rampantly in the mountains. Moreover, she planned to plant more mushrooms in the yard, which interested Ms. Fang, who had found the biggest hope and interest in her life. Xiao Xian, with the excuse of seeking mushrooms, was actually trying to find some precious medical herbs, including wild-growing Gastrodia elatas, Panax notoginseng, Siberia land picks as well as Ganoderma lucidum. She had decided to feed Ganoderma lucidum to the space, and if the space did not accept Gastrodia elata, Panax notoginseng, then she could plant them in the yard. She also decided to have a talk with the pharmacy when she had some savings, about whether she could buy some seeds of Gastrodia elatas as well as Panax notoginseng from them. Well, it would be best if wild-growing ones could be found. But it was not certain yet. The resources in the forest were abundant, and it was quite possible for her to find wild-growing ones there itself. When they were done with planting medicinal herbs, she was going to work on mushroom planting. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were quite willing to take a walk with their fifth sister-in-law in the mountains. The three of them spent 2 days searching for the herbs, and finally Qiao Xian found more than 10 Ganoderma lucidum for the space. Qiao Xian was very surprised. She tried to feed the space according to her own thoughts, which the space accepted. Qiao Xian was confused. But then she tried to pull the Ganoderma lucidum out of the space as well, which worked too. Delighted, Qiao Xian planted all the Ganoderma lucidum into the space without hesitation. In this way, she was putting stuff into the space for saving, and she could pull it out whenever she needed things. The orchids she planted earlier were budding, which manifested the fact that plants grew fast inside. In this way, Ganoderma lucidum could be left growing in the space instead, which could help her earn more money later. Apart from Ganoderma lucidum, Qiao Xian was lucky enough to find 5 more false starworts, which space did not ask for but which were planted by her voluntarily. She could sense that the magical air as well as the sense of liveliness had become thicker across the space. The land around the spring was no longer that bare-looking, and the earth within a range of 50 meters was becoming fertile. The space seemed to be expanding outwards in this way. The spring was no longer still. Instead, it was moving by a finger size far into the distance. Yet she could not see the end, since her magical sense had not yet taken her there. As for herself, she was yet not able to enter space physically, and wondered if she would be able to do that in the future. Apart from all of these changes, there was a patch of mist shrouding the area not far away from the spring, in which she seemed to have spotted a small house. The house had white walls and black tilts, a high rooftop. It looked quite classical. What was inside the house? Unfortunately, she was not able to go deeper inside. Still, Qiao Xian felt really excited seeing the changes in the space. She might be able to realize all the possibilities soon that had not been explored till now. According to the current development, she might be most likely to open up all the unknown avenues into possibilities. Qiao Xian eventually found a patch of wild-growing Gastrodia elata. She wondered for how many years the Gastrodia elatas had been growing in the mountains, since there were so many of them, covering approximately 20 mu. Chapter 99 Harvest. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao could not recognize those plants, but Qiao Xian had the impression, because she had bought them for the senior member of the family in her previous life. True, here they were. Fifth sister-in-law, is it a good thing? Can we sell them for money? Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao did not care if they recognized the plants, as long as their fifth sister-in-law was glad. It meant that the plants were definitely going to be precious. Qiao Xian nodded as she rubbed her hands. These are excellent things, precious medical herbs, which can be sold at a really good price in the pharmacy. Gastrodia elatas had always been sold at a high price starting from the ancient time. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao cheered. What are we waiting for? Go and grab them. Fifth sister-in-law, what are they called? We will dig them all up. Qiao Xian smiled. They are called Gastrodia elata, growing in the earth. You have to be very careful when digging them. You should not hurt them, or they will lose all their value. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded. Xiao Taotao asked again. Fifth sister-in-law, how much can they be sold for? Qiao Xian thought for a while and shook her head. I am not very sure, but I think that it should be more valuable than honey. Ah, what? Their eyes widened upon listening to her and they gasped. Both of them became even more motivated and careful hearing that. The brother and sister were fully prepared. Fifth sister-in-law, don't worry, we promise to be careful. Qiao Xian nodded with a smile. Good that you are careful, but a little twisted stems are okay, don't get too nervous. Qiao Xian suddenly thought that she may be able to repair the damaged plants with her superpower. She wondered whether that method worked. Even if she could not, small damages were fine. She could use her superpower to avoid the damage in the stems. but Tao Tao and Qi would not able to do so. They were not real professionals. However, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were not convinced by Qiao Xian. We will definitely remain cautious. Yes, we will not hurt the stem. That was all potential money. Far more valuable than wild honey. The three of them did not bring any shovels on this day, only blades. They needed to chop the plants away, so as to make a path across the wilderness. Soon, Xiao Xiaoqi sharpened a sharp-tipped twig and the digging started. The terrain was low and flat in the woods, and the soil was not too wet or too dry. The plants were growing really well. As a result, it was much easier for them to dig out things. Soon, they managed to get a good harvest. All the plants looked ripe and weighed heavily, with some soil stuck to them. The plants had a fragrant and fresh fragrance, but their noses could only smell money. 20 mu plants like this were not easy to be dug fully, and they could not possibly carry everything back even when they were done. They had just completed digging 1 mu when their baskets were full. They were not strong enough to take away everything. Xiao Xiaoqi said, I will bear this place in mind. Let's go home first. What are we going to do with this plant? Sundry it too? Xiao Xian had just tested that her superpower was able to repair the damage of plants, but the wounds could not be too large or deep. She was in a good mood. Hearing what Xiao Xiaoqi said, Xiao Xian thought for a while and said, we can't do this again and again. Let's go home first, and bring third brother, elder brother and elder sister-in-law here tomorrow. Chapter 100 Ideas. The plants across the 20 mu were ripe and lush, because no one had harvested them before. It was the correct time, but soon they would go bad. Xiao Xian decided to move them back home before they were discovered by others. The plants were not growing very regularly, and she decided to get some more laborers for help. With their help, the harvesting would take just a couple of days. The three of them returned to the village. Xiao Xian and Xiao Taotao waited for Xiao Xiaoqi to get the bullock cart to their spot. Then the three of them went into the town together, and arrived at the pharmacy called Mingren Tang. They went to the old client whom they had sold stuff to earlier. Xiao Xian had no idea how to deal with Gastrodia elata herself, and it would be too troublesome and eye-catching as well. What if those nosy people came to their home and made trouble? They could just dig and sell, saving a lot of trouble. Those relatives were so shameless. How could they just return like nothing had happened, every time they finished the argument with her mother-in-law? It basically meant that they were thick-skinned. It came to their own interests and had a greedy disposition. Hearing that they had Gastrodia elata, Manager Qin was really astonished. But for Qiao Xian's previous visit and their generous sale of hundreds of kilos of wild honey last time, he would not have believed their words. Instead, he would have thought that they were here causing trouble and would have driven them out. Seeing the plants they had brought with them, he was surprised. They were freshly dug with soil still attached. Manager Qin was surprised and happy, as he said emotionally, "You are indeed lucky. Of course we will take it. I will buy them at a reasonable price. Do you have any more?" Manager Qin looked at her expectantly. Qiao Xian replied with a leisurely smile. "Of course yes, we have found more than 10 mu of it in the mountains. This is just a small portion we have dug. So, Manager Qin, name a good price, otherwise we will not go and dig them any further." Manager Qin would not have believed those words if they were spoken by someone else, and he would have quoted a low price if he was dealing with regular villagers. Well, everyone was trying to make some money, right? But he had to believe what Qiao Xian said. She was a reliable person, and she must be right about what she had said. Qiao Xian would not trick him like the others. Manager Qin smiled. "You are funny, little girl. My Mingren Tang is always fair and sells things at a right price. You can bring all kinds of medical herbs you can find, and we can buy it from you at the right price. The plants are raw, and we still need to deal with them, which may take some time. I will pay 2 liang for every 500 grams, okay?" Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao almost fainted and their hearts skipped a beat. They exchanged a shocked look between each other. What did they just hear? 2 liang? They had spent a lot of effort carrying the bags and baskets from the mountains, and it should weigh at least 35 to 40 kilograms together. So, how much were they going to receive? They just could not calculate it anymore. Chapter 101 Nice treatment. Xiaoxian thought for a while and smiled. Okay, 2 liang isn't a high price, but Manager Qin, you pay promptly, so I will take the deal. Good. Miss, if you have some more, bring it to us please. The manager let out a sigh of relief and smiled, as he asked the assistant to start weighing the goods. 2 liang for 500 grams was not a low price, nor was it high. The manager was trying to get a bargain, because he did need to spend extra effort in dealing with the original plants. Xiaoxian took the deal and told him that she was aware of the market price well enough. Manager believed that if the seller was not as smart as this young miss, he would definitely have managed to buy all the plants at 2 Tian per 500 grams instead. The final bill was 172 liang for 43 kilograms. If they give half of it to the shared savings, each of them would still get dozens of liang in the end. The 3 of them were really pleased. They bought some good food, and Xiaoxian fetched the newly tailored clothes, before heading back to the village happily. Xiaoxian asked Xiao Yunduan to join them when she was handing out the money. Xiao Yunduan was startled as he said, "You went to the town? You have to tell me when you go to town next time. I need to be with you." Qi and Tao Tao could do nothing. If something happened, they were not going to be of any help. They would even be frightened away. Xiaoxian got very happy when she heard that he cared about her safety rather than the money. So she said, "All right, next time I will tell you first." Xiaoxian was smiling inside her heart. She was so lucky to have a husband who treated her nicely. Xiao Yunduan was really worried about her safety. He had witnessed how Madame Qiao and those from the Qiao family treated her, so he was really angry and concerned about her. He was scared that she would run into them. Those annoying servants were even worse than their masters. They would always flatter the masters in all kinds of manners. What if some housekeeper, servant or annoying aunties ran into Xiaoxian and bullied her? But seeing how Xiaoxian reacted, he suddenly became shy. But he felt somehow happy too, when he saw her cheerful face. Xiaoxian, Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Taotao, Xiao Xiaoqi, Ms. Fang were dividing the money. Ms. Su did not notice the amount of money, as she was watching her children eating snacks and putting on new dresses. Ms. Fang and Xiao Yunduan were very surprised to see this much money. Xiaoxian took 2 notes, each of them was worth 50 liang, whilst the rest was 10 liang as well as some small changes. They had spent some on food, such as ribs and pork belly as well as 50 kilograms of rice and 15 kilograms of flour. Those staple foods were consumed fast in a large family like theirs. Ms. Fang patted her throbbing heart as she said in a shivering voice, "This much money was earned because you sold that plant?" "Yes, Mom." The 3 of them nodded with a smile. "Oh my." Ms. Fang almost collapsed. "It is so much. Mom, this is just a small part. We have seen more than 20 mu of the plant. We can dig some more tomorrow. We are going to earn much more than this." "Ms. Fang, let me digest it slowly." Xiao Yunduan helped Ms. Fang to sit down. "Mom, Ms. Qiao found the plant, but I think that if she gives half of the earnings to the shared pool, it might be a bit too much. What do you think?" Chapter 102 No greed. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded as well. That was exactly what they were thinking too. But for 5th sister-in-law, we would not have recognized the plant, nor would we have sold it for this much money. 5th sister-in-law should take the largest share. Yes. Xiaoxian did not care much about it. She knew what her mother-in-law was like. She smiled. "It is fine, we have all worked hard. But Mom, you have to hide the money and never share it with anyone else." The others agreed as well. They believed that this was the most important thing above all. Ms. Fang took a deep breath. "Miss Qiao, Duan, Qi and Taotao are right. You earned the money. You don't have to give so much to us. What about you giving 20 liang to me, and the rest can be yours?" 20 liang was already enough for them. Honestly, they could not save 20 liang even in an entire year in the past. Ms. Fang believed that she should cherish the windfall, rather than being greedy. Xiaoxian was able to earn this much money, because she was fortunate. The others should not be too greedy for her money. Otherwise there would be misfortune along the way. Startled, Xiaoxian had not expected that her mother-in-law would be so generous. She said, Mom is right, just do as she says. Xiao Yinduan added. She could keep her earnings. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao had no objection to the proposal. Xiaoxian thought for a while and agreed with a smile. Then I won't say no. Ms. Fang said with a smile. You deserve it. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao did not do much and still got 20 liang respectively. Xiaoxian had more than 120 liang in savings right now. She stuffed 2 liang back to Ms. Fang. That was an extra benefit, which made Ms. Fang smile. Her daughter-in-law was quite understanding and knew how to make money and respected her. She was the lucky star of the family. When they were done with money sharing, Xiao Miling and Xiao Xiaoji came looking around. Xiao Xiaoqi immediately said, We don't have any wild animals today, cousins. So they could just stop looking. Xiao Miling smiled. You borrowed a bullock cart to go to the town. What did you do there? Xiao Xiaoji. What did you buy? Xiaoxian replied. Why must we report what we have brought to you every time? It is none of your business. She left from there without speaking with them anymore. Xiao Miling and her sister got so annoyed that they turned to look at Ms. Fang, who ignored them as well, and went into the kitchen instead. They realized that their elder aunt-in-law would not defend them against her daughter-in-law. Let's leave. The two of them dashed off. Soon the 2 elder women were at the door. Ms. Fang countered them, and the 2 of them left in anger as well. Ms. Fang realized that they should not be indulged, even though her family was making money now. Xiaoxian cooked some more food for dinner. She made braised and sugar-coated ribs, and turned pork belly into braised meat whilst adding some chives with egg soup and eggplants and beans. Xiaoxian thought that her father-in-law would say something about this, but her father-in-law said nothing even after they finished the dinner. Xiaoxian was very surprised. Xiao Yinduan immediately clarified. They owe you 2 liang. Dad doesn't dare to say anything right now. Xiaoxian struck her head. Good. It was good that she had a substantial dowry. Chapter 103. No step backwards. She could do whatever she wanted. What Xiaoxian did not know was that when eldest uncle returned to the room, he had a long chat with Ms. Fang. Although he did not believe it firmly, he still insisted. They were just here on a visit. Why are you treating them as if they are thieves? It will make our name sound bad, and it will hurt us too. We are one family, Ms. Fang sneered. We are not one family. We are living separately. We all have sons, daughter-in-laws and grandchildren to support. What are they doing here? They keep thinking about getting something from us, whenever they see us bringing something home. Just on a visit? They always return to their home with something or the other. She is not yet married, but when he has a wife in the future, and they keep coming to us again and again, his wife is definitely going to be annoyed. No nephews are going to support their uncles and aunts. They can get something from us occasionally, but they come to us every time Qi goes up to the mountain. Bah. Ms. Qiao can buy whatever she wants. Why is it their business? Why must they dig into what she is doing? Must she share with them what she has got? They will always come to you whenever we refuse to give them something. You can share things with them, but leave us alone. If you are not convinced, just ask your son and daughter-in-law. Who on earth is willing to share the gains? You can go and ask anyone. Bah, don't ever say that they have nothing, and will give us something when they have it. Look at Xiaoji and Miling. When they eat candies, they don't share any with Tao Tao. When they kill roosters for a meal, have they ever shared a bowl of soup with us? Eldest uncle. He could not come up with any instance when he was offered something by them. A rooster is so small. If they have anything spare, they would definitely share it with us. Ms. Fang sneered. What do you mean by small? If they have the heart to share it with us, they would do that whenever they want. They have taken full advantage of us. Now they should just stop it. Our children are growing up, and we are going to have more daughters-in-law. You are defending your brothers, but if you expect your daughters-in-law to support their uncle and aunts, I don't think that any of the daughters-in-law would be glad to do so. Are you trying to make sons and daughters-in-law to get separated from you? Eldest uncle was angry. We are one family, we don't have to split hairs. You don't, but what good have we got? Why can't we split the hairs? We need to share every time. But they share nothing, and think that we owe them something. You can be generous, but leave us alone. Having said this, Ms. Fang became even angrier, and went to sleep. She was definitely not going to take a step backwards. She was strong enough to snap at him. She had her son and daughter-in-law to back her up, and it did not matter if her husband was arguing with her. Maybe he could just leave the family. He could check if his brothers would want to keep him and feed him. The following day, eldest uncle was not feeling well, but no one noticed it or spoke with him. That made the old man feel even worse. He had nowhere to vent his anger either. So he skipped breakfast, and left with a shovel on his shoulders. Xiao Dalong was down to earth, and seemed to have sensed that his father was upset about something. Ms. Fang sneered and waved her hand. Just leave him alone. He would come to join them for a meal when he was angry. Or he was going to ask his brothers for food. They would never be that kind to take care of him. Xiao Dalong did not think that it was right, but when he was about to say something more, Ms. Su blinked at him and stopped him. Chapter 104. Ms. Thus anticipation. Ms. Su snapped at him. Don't be silly. Dad and Mom must have had a row. As their juniors, we should not get involved in the matter. Xiao Dalong was startled. A row? That can't be possible. They were fine last night. Ms. Su snorted. Who knows? But just listen to what Mom says. If you ever dare say anything more, she will teach you a lesson. Xiao Dalong thought for a while and nodded with a small answer, saying nothing more. After breakfast, Qiao Xian asked them to help dig the Gastrodia elatas. Qi, third brother, and I found a large patch of it, and they are very valuable. Brother and sister-in-law, help us in bringing it back. I will pay you 5 liang a day. It will take just a couple of days. She had asked Ms. Fang about the payment, and Ms. Fang agreed with it. Only Qiao Xian recognized Gastrodia elata, and it was she who found this valuable plant. So Ms. Fang even believed that 5 liang for the couple would be a little too much. 5 liang for 1 day? If Qiao Xian was a stingy person, she could have kept it as a secret and sell it on her own. She could have earned all the money by herself. But she exposed this to the family because she treated them well. Also, half of her earnings would need to be handed out to the shared savings. Xiao Dalong and his wife, as well as Xiao Sanlang, were shocked. Fifth sister-in-law. Ms. Thus' voice was shivering. Are you saying that we can earn 5 liang a day? 5 liang? Xiao Dalong found that Ms. Thus' reaction was a little bit improper, but he could not help but turn to Ms. Su, who was gasping. He looked at Qiao Xian and said, Fifth sister-in-law, have you made a mistake? Xiao Sanlang gasped, and had not become normal yet. Brother. Qiao Xian smiled. I have not made a mistake. 5 liang for 1 person per day, 10 liang for 2 days, but please keep it a secret. I will absolutely keep it a secret. Fifth sister-in-law, let's go now. Ms. Su almost jumped in excitement. 10 liang for 2 days. They would earn 20 liang for 2 days together. In a couple of years, they would be able to afford to send Junyan to school, even after handing out the money to the shared savings. Ms. Fang could not help but throw Ms. Su a disdainful look. This narrow-minded woman, she acted as if she had never seen any money before. But then she realized that she had really never seen much money before. So she decided to drop any disciplining talks with her. Just listen carefully. Ms. Fang snorted. You should tell this to no one else, including your father. If you meet your mother's family, you should keep it a secret from them as well. Never mention this to anyone ever, understand? Ms. Su was startled and nodded constantly. So did Xiao Dalong and the others. Soon they set out to do the work. Xiao Yinduan tagged along as well. He was trying to take a walk in his spare time, to balance his time devoted to his studies. They worked fast, and it took them just half a day to finish the work. Compared to the digging, transporting was an even more difficult task. It was a long way to go. They were all good at physical labor work, but it took some effort to carry everything out. Xiao Xiaoqi rented a bullock cart, and they all gathered at the entrance of the village. Xiao Yunduan decided to keep Qiao Xian company in the town, whilst Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao followed along. Ms. Su was very excited. She was nervous too, and did not follow along out of hesitation. Do you think that fifth sister-in-law will give us the money? Ms. Su did not believe that it was a reliable thing. That plant looked like cheap stuff. Were they worth a penny? Chapter 105 Acceptance. Xiao Dalong said, "Fifth sister-in-law doesn't joke around. When she makes a promise, she definitely sticks to it." Ms. Su nodded and smiled. "Then we will have 20 liang altogether, and we are going to have savings of our own." "Yes." Xiao Dalong smiled with brightened eyes. They sold a lot of plants this time, and the weight became 268 kilograms. Manager Qin counted it as 270 kilograms instead. The payment was 1,080 liang altogether. Manager Qin's eyes almost popped out, and he asked his assistant to serve them tea. He said in a flattering tone, "Mr. Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, how much more of this do you have?" Qiao Xian thought for a while. Similar to this amount, not too much. It was wild growing and the production wasn't that great. Otherwise 20 mu of Gastrodia elata would have led them to great fortune. Good. Manager Qin said with a smile. "We want it all. We buy it at this price, okay?" Qiao Xian smiled. "Okay." Qiao Xian gave Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao 100 liang each. It was they who kept Xiao Xian company when she found Gastrodia elata, and they deserved to have this much share. The two of them accepted the money happily. Xiao Xian gave nothing to Xiao Yunduan, but asked him with a smile, "I can keep it for you, and you can turn to me when you need money, all right?" Xiao Yunduan suddenly thought of how his mother guarded the money at home, and how his sister-in-law watched out for the savings, so he wondered what she meant. But Xiao Yunduan cut off the suspicion and nodded. "Okay." Xiao Xian chuckled and stuffed the money into her arms. Back at home, they started to divide the money. They gave Xiao Dalong, Mrs. Su and Xiao Sanling 10 liang each, and they would receive 10 liang more the following day. Ms. Su was so happy that her eyes sparkled. She thanked her constantly and wondered where she should keep the money. Xiao Sanling was glad as well. He had the money, and he was going to sell more of this plant with his brother tomorrow as well. He was going to buy a lot of good food, like braised pork, roasted chicken, big ducks and all kinds of delicious meat dishes from restaurant Yenha, some candied sugar-coated dried fruits from dim sum shops, melon seeds and peanuts and so on. He was going to buy a lot. It made him so happy. Qiao Xian gave 100 liang to Ms. Fang as well. Ms. Fang accepted the money when Xiao Yunduan told her to. Xiao Xian could not help but smile. "Mom, I really admire you for how you deal with different things. I am so glad to have a mother-in-law like you." Ms. Fang was not greedy at all, which Qiao Xian appreciated greatly. "Honestly, you girl." Ms. Fang chuckled. "It is Duan's honor to have married you. But you are right. I am not greedy. I feel so glad to have you here." "Yes." Qiao Xian smiled. "Mom, you are kind and friendly, and you will certainly have a lot of good fortune." "Haha. That is great." Ms. Fang laughed loudly. Xiao Yunduan. He almost believed that he was the extra one. The following day, they worked hard and earned 1,260 liang after the sale. Xiao Xian gave 100 liang to Ms. Fang, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao each, and gave 20 liang to Xiao Sanling, Xiao Dalong and Mrs. Su respectively. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.